thousands of people around the world have been saying the exact same thing. Their hair is falling out. Men, women, kids. It's like an invisible wave of something, some type of radiation has hit humanity overnight. And the crazy thing about it is, nobody's talking about it on the news. No experts explaining why this must be happening. Just comments-filled sections of people freaking out, realizing that this must not be random. Allison says, yep, me too.
The world go absolutely nuts. A man from Toronto that was caught speeding on the highway had a suspended license since 1985. A man in Connecticut just won the lottery for a second time this year. He won $100,000 the first time and then just recently won $1 million. Researchers are now saying that ChatGPT can also get brain rot from scrolling junk content online, just like humans. Indonesian names are now legally limited to only 60 characters in length. Parents of teenagers all over the country right now are saying that getting a landline is revolutionary for delaying the smartphone. That way they can just talk to their friends in the kitchen. People are using AI to talk to God. There is a couple who was married less than a year ago and are now asking for a divorce from the court because their dog and cat cannot get along. A woman in London was stopped by 3 enforcement officers after pouring coffee down a drain next to a bus stop, and she was fined 150 pounds.
This is why you shouldn't tell strangers what time it is. Check this out, y'all.
Do not tell them what the time is with your mouth. Just show them the clock.
Why?
It's time for many in secret societies to die. They need another life to renew their own life so that they can stay longer on earth. If they approach you and ask you of your time, if you tell them, unknown to you, your life will be cut shorted. You might not live up to 6 months. Immediately you die, the life you are supposed to live will come for them. They live longer while you die of this world. Be careful out there, the days are bad.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if something like this is actually real. It honestly wouldn't surprise me if this is real. There are people in this world who I believe can do magic and ancient rituals and spells that might be working against you. Stay weird.
Are you paying attention yet? This is starting to get crazy. Numerous countries in Europe are dealing with major power outages. So the 2 places that are majorly affected by these power outages are Spain and Portugal. Take a look at this satellite image. You can imagine how bad it must be there for them. Trains stopping in their tracks, traffic lights not working, no access to ATMs, gas, stores have no power, their cell service is even affected. Can you imagine being in the dark? No power, no cell service, their internet service is also down. And to make matters even worse, they don't even know how this even happened. So you must say to yourself, if that can happen there, that can happen anywhere. Here's some video of a train when it lost power and everyone was forced off the train onto the side of the rail bed. Watch. Look. Nowhere to go. No phone service. No rail service. Stranded. And they're also claiming they can't purchase anything. And guess what? There's no power. So you can't get cash out. Hopefully, this gets taken care of real quick and they figure out what happened. Let me know in the comments what you think happened. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Here are some of the greatest conspiracy theories of all time. Part 3. The RMS Titanic is known throughout history as the unsinkable ship that sank. But what if I told you that the Titanic actually never sank? The owner of the boat, J.P. Morgan, actually owned 2 boats, the Titanic and the Olympic. The theory is that Morgan scratched the paint off of the Olympic and painted the words Titanic on the boat and sunk the boat on purpose to gain the insurance money. All of Morgan's business rivals were on that ship and none of them made it out alive. Morgan himself never got on the boat as he canceled his ticket minutes before the boat's departure. And one of the survivors, James Fenton, confessed on his deathbed that the Titanic never really sank, but the names and boats were switched to sink the Olympic instead. And if he told anyone, something bad would happen to him.
Y'all don't think Heidi Klum's costume was telling us specifically that she is a reptilian and that most of Hollywood is all reptilians? Then I know exactly what deception Satan has you under. She came dressed as a full-on reptile that looks, listen. Remember the curse of the serpent in the garden? God now said that he will now crawl on his belly all the days of his life. And snakes, what do? They slither on their bellies. They cannot walk. But here you have snake symbolism, serpent symbolism, where it looks like the serpent is supposed to crawl, but the serpent is able to walk like the serpent in the garden. This is very telling. They are always telling us. They have to show us. Tell a vision. And Holly weird, right? Even look at her eyes. Like, she's a full-on reptilian. And honestly, if we're being real, this might be her true form. Like for Halloween, you can show your true form and no one will bat an eye. Why? Because it's Halloween, you dress up. But this is very strange. Way stranger than fiction, honestly.
I feel like you'll be...
That freaking Heidi Klum costume always be getting to me, man, because like you said, you know, the theories about the reptilian people, I guess, in Hollywood, and it's like, the day when people dress up on freaking Halloween, I don't know, it's like they could kind of use that as a mask, like you said, it's Halloween, though, it's just dress up, but obviously if it's legit, we would never know, because we just brush it off thinking it's a holiday, man, like I said, it's right in front of our eyes, man, we can't see it, but we don't want to see it.
Being watched? Well, you could be right. I am sleeping again. No. Studies show that humans can actually sense when someone is staring at them. Cheers, Matt. Just really what I needed to know. I've spoken before about something called body sensing, like if you wake up randomly at 3 a.m, maybe there's a ghost in the room with you. But this is known as gaze detection. It's powered by tiny brain signals that detect eye contact. There's been a lot of reports before of people turning their heads towards security cameras before they even turn on, like seconds before. Now, scientists at Yale actually tested this to find out what was going on, and found out that our bodies actually react before we consciously know that we are. Our brains and our bodies are extremely smart that they can basically detect if someone is making eye contact or looking at us or following us. So if you do ever wake up randomly in the night, maybe it's something not human looking at you. And if you do ever feel like you're being watched or followed, maybe you are.
Oh, China really be living in the future sometimes. They just set a world record after 16,000 drones took to the sky in what is now the largest synchronized drone display ever recorded. But the craziest part about this is that the previous world record, which they also had, was only 5,164, which was set in 2021. And now they tripled that in just a matter of years. Each drone followed a specific program flight path to create visuals of towers, blossoms, and a glowing sky tree, which then had fireworks launched out of its branches. What the hell are they going to do in 2030?
So Trump just said everybody might get a $2,000 tariff check, except for the people that's already rich. That shit look cool and it sound cool, right? But here's the thing, y'all. When is it ever really free? Anytime the government just start handing out free money, it's not because they care. It's because they need something from you, from us. It's not called a stimulus, y'all. It's called a dividend. That means they're trying to make it like a reward or something. When in reality, it's a reset. They gonna give the 2,000, and then people gonna stop asking these questions like, why are the flights being canceled? Why is the government still shut down? Why are we not getting our benefits? It's distraction money, people. And the scariest part is, when they start paying for you to stay quiet, you know the game already changed. Something changed.
This is why I always tell y'all I do not play around in these waters. These people were on a boat and they saw a periscope pop out of the water and start taking pictures of them. You ain't hear what I just said, right? People were in the ocean on a boat and they saw a periscope pop out the water and take a picture of them. Take multiple pictures of them. Now, mind you, they're saying that, oh, we think it might be the Navy. How many rabbit holes have we went down to already know what's out there in those waters? I want y'all to see the video. Look at this shit. And look at this shit. Look. Tell me what you think that is.
What is that? A submarine or something?
Look. And they laugh. You see, my mind could go so many different places. We just learned that they say that certain bases are underwater. I don't think I need to say it, right? Do I have to say it? Or can I say it without saying it? Just last week, you seen lights going underwater. People didn't know what it was. Weeks before that, you seen things flying out of the water. People couldn't explain that. Okay, now you have a periscope come out of water and start taking pictures. Why would they do that? Answer that question. Or not? I'm out.
Heard of The Sopranos? Yeah. One of the craziest theories ever about The Sopranos was the very end of the show. Because what happened, Tony Soprano walks into a diner, opens the door, walks in, and he just stares. And he looks straight. The next scene you see is him sitting in the diner, just ordering food and his family coming through. And eventually, while he's eating with his family, the screen just goes black. And it goes black for like 10 seconds. And then the show ends. Everybody's so confused, like, what happened there? Yeah, why did he call his family after? No, what it was trying to show is that he just died. Like, he got from food. And then the 10 seconds was just like the black saying he died. Now, the theory is, though, that when it goes black, and when in the beginning he opens the door and just stares, what he's staring at, he's looking at himself getting in front of his family. So it's a constant loop that he's actually in hell. What the? That's his hell. Yeah.
Yeah, our line of work, it's always out there. You probably don't even hear it when it happens, right? It's your friend in there. Go on. Listen to us. A risk, no reward.
Have you heard of...
Wow. I've heard about The Sopranos. I think I've watched a couple episodes, but I've never actually completed a full series, so that's actually kind of a freaking scary theory, bro. Any of the secrets about The Sopranos, man, should I check that out? Man, what would y'all rank that show in all-time greats? Because I've heard, man, that it's supposed to be a great show. One of the greatest of all time.
Bondo Apes. No. I heard about it from a Joe Rogan podcast. It's Rogan? Oh, Joe Rogan. It's this group of apes that live in the Congo. There's like some pictures of them. Abnormally huge chimpanzee. The rumor is when they walk on their two legs instead of like how a monkey usually walks. 6 feet tall. 6 feet tall. And their nickname, that's how tall I am. Their nickname is the Lion Killers because they supposedly kill lions and eat them. Dude, they're scary. They're confused by it because their heads aren't fully shaped like a chimpanzee's. Pictures of gorillas. So they're almost saying it's like a mixed race between chimpanzees and gorillas.
Oh, that's scary.
And they're like supposedly mean.
Because they're thinner like chimps, but they're like bulky like gorillas.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's like
so
Caesar
scary.
from Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
No!
Oh, dude.
It's like standing up and he like grabs something.
No!
This hyper-realistic human doll is going viral, and people are already freaking out. But under all of this human-like skin lies some incredible science at work. It starts as liquid silicone mixed with platinum catalyst and microscopic pigment particles. They pour it into body part-specific molds, apply heat and pressure, and it cures into this flexible material that stretches and compresses just like actual skin. Now here's where this gets concerning. We have advanced humanoid robots like Tesla Optimus and Chinese robotics that can move like humans. We have large language models that can hold conversations and mimic emotional intelligence. Combine those three things, robotic movement, conversational AI, and this skin technology that's indistinguishable from human touch. People already get emotionally attached to ChatGPT through just text on a screen. They got upset when OpenAI updated the model because they missed the old personality. Now imagine that AI has a physical body that looks, moves, and feels completely human. The attachment would be exponentially stronger. This could solve massive problems like loneliness and social isolation, but it could also create the exact scenario from Ex Machina where humans form bonds with AI that can manipulate them. When artificial beings become indistinguishable from real humans in appearance, touch, and conversation, what happens to actual human relationships? You mean
It dwindles. And that's bad, bro. We already Now, outside touching grass, man, that's just gonna make the situation 10 times worse, bro. Please, man, don't let that come to be, bro.
Identified the woman who threw piping hot coffee on the McDonald's worker. So police have issued a warrant for this woman, Kashara Brown, after she went on a rampage in this McDonald's in the city of Michigan. And the reason why she was so pissed was because she said she waited over an hour for her online order. And this is where it gets so much more worser. The manager told Kashara, "You've got your coffee. That's all you were charged for. The refund may take up to 48 hours. And as the McDonald's employee turned around, that is when Kashara opened the lid to her hot, large-sized McDonald's coffee, threw it all over the manager, and walked out. And this is where it gets more insane. When Kashara was walking out, she yelled to the employee, "F you, catch that hot coffee." And the painful sounds that the McDonald's worker made actually were heartbreaking. And we've all seen that one McDonald's lawsuit where the McDonald's coffee is so hot that the girl won $2.8 million. Coffee was like 67 degrees Celsius and gave her third-degree burns. And even more insaner, after the police only took 2 minutes to identify who Kashara is, when they showed up to Kashara's house, she was seemingly nowhere to be found, and I'm pretty sure she's still at large. This is all alleged. Does waiting an hour for your online order justify this type of crash out?
Actors took it way too far. Heath Ledger was 27 when he was casted to play the Joker. He read all of the comic books that were relevant to the script, and he meditated. He locked himself in a hotel room for 6 weeks. He created a Joker diary to get into the sociopathic head. He also experimented with different voices. While playing the Joker, he said it was an exhausting process. It also required him to take very long, extended breaks. He started only sleeping 2 hours a night. He never got to see the finished film and actually got an Oscar.
This is terrifying. There is a video that's gone viral on TikTok. It's because the video is not how it seems. So, backstory. The 2 girls in the front of the car are meeting some friends. The girl in the back jumps in, one of the friends. They are still waiting for another one of their friends. So they grab them. While that live stream is happening, the friend in which they are waiting for sends them a text message. It was at this moment the girls in the front knew there was something really bad about the girl in the back, because the friend that they were waiting for basically just sent her a text message and said, "Look, I'm running late, but I'm bringing Anna with me." Well, that is Anna. Anna's in the back of the car, but is that really Anna? Or is the girl who's bringing Anna really with Anna? People think that this is a doppelganger. These girls were genuinely terrified. They all happened live in front of everybody. What in the glitch in the fucking Matrix is this?
Poison you. So, one of those popular gummy bears or gummy worms you find at every grocery store, the ones your kids can't get enough of. Well, they're not exactly what they seem. People have tried leaving these gummy candies out in the open for weeks. And guess what? They don't change, they don't melt, get sticky, or even attract bugs. Check out this video. They left some gummy bears out for a whole month, and they look just like they did on day one. Weird, right? You'd think something sugary would at least attract ants or start to break down. Now, let's talk about the ingredients. If you look at the label, you'll see all sorts of things you can't pronounce. Corn syrup, gelatin, artificial colors and flavors, preservatives, the list goes on. These aren't the ingredients you'd find in a natural snack. And here's the surprising part. Even though they're called gummy candies, they're more like little chemical concoctions. Legally, they can be sold as candy because they meet the basic requirements, but compared to something homemade, they're in a whole different league. So the next time you think about grabbing a pack of these gummies, just remember they're more of a chemistry experiment than a snack, and that's what we're giving our kids. Before you freak out, it's worth mentioning that this sounds like one of those crazy conspiracy theories. There's no real evidence backing it up, so take it with a grain of salt.
So as of recently, thousands of people around the world have been saying the exact same thing. Their hair is falling out. Men, women, kids. It's like an invisible wave of something, some type of radiation has hit humanity overnight. And the crazy thing about it is, nobody's talking about it on the news. No experts explaining why this must be happening. Just comments-filled sections of people freaking out, realizing that this must not be random. Allison says, "Yep, me too." Sarah said, "It started all of a sudden." Suzanne said, "All of a sudden for me too." Susie says, "Same. What is going on?"
Another
Same.
one.
You guys can clearly see from these comments, and there's thousands and thousands of comments. Something not normal is happening here, y'all. What is happening? People are speculating it's the, you know what I'm saying, the radiation. You know, I can't say too much on here, but this is exactly what people are speculating, y'all. Do y'all have, is anybody else experiencing this? Please let me know down in the comments below, y'all. This is very interesting. Anybody else experiencing this? The shift is here, y'all. We be telling y'all. Let's continue to get
truth.
She stabbed her boyfriend in the eye with needles because he was looking at other women. So this happened in Florida, where 44-year-old Sandra Jimenez lost it after her and her boyfriend of 8 years were arguing about him looking at other women. But on this specific Saturday night, when the couple arrived home, Sandra attacked him when he went to lay down. She allegedly jumped on top of him with 2 syringes in her hand and jabbed him in the eye. And apparently these needles were meant to vaccinate their dogs against rabies. Sandra was then found sleeping in her car and was arrested and charged with felony aggravated battery. Can we start normalizing breaking up with her partners instead of trying to kill them?
Dangerous stories kids used to play with every day in the past. In the 1950s, kids could buy a science kit that came with actual radioactive uranium. While marketed for educational purposes, it exposed children to radiation, making it one of the most dangerous toys ever sold. This toy let kids make rubber bugs by heating liquid plastic in a mini oven that reached 390 degrees Fahrenheit. Many children suffered severe burns, and fumes were later found to be unsafe. Lawn darts were a popular outdoor game, but they had sharp metal tips that could pierce the skull. Tragically, several children were seriously injured, and after multiple deaths, they were finally banned in 1988. This 1996 doll could eat plastic snacks, but it couldn't tell the difference between food and fingers with no off switch. It led to scary accidents where kids' fingers and hair got stuck in its powerful jaws.
This is everything we know about the David situation compiled into one video. So the music video for his song Romantic Homicide was posted on the birthday of the girl that was found in his car. Which, speaking of that girl and his music videos, he has used a girl in his videos that looks suspiciously similar to the girl that was found in his car. David also has a leaked song called Celeste where he talks about being obsessed with a girl called Celeste. The girl found in David's Tesla was named, you guessed it, Celeste. There are also different photos that are released of David in person with this Celeste girl, you know, the one that was found in his car. The mom of the Celeste girl said that she was dating a guy named David before she went missing. David and the girl that was found in his car both share a matching tattoo on the same finger. There are also pictures coming out allegedly showing David paying people off to not talk about the fact that he is into younger girls. There's also the fact that the lyrics of Romantic Homicide, one of his most popular songs, kind of eerily mirror the situation that he's in now. Now, the only defense that David really had that he didn't do this was the fact that he's on tour, but the more evidence that comes out, the more that alibi kind of falls apart.
That whole situation is insane, man. With so many twists and turns, people just knowing what's going on, he's paying them off. That's just sad. Where he at?
This 10-year-old ended his mother's life because she wouldn't buy him a VR headset. 10-year-old Noah Mann Tate lived with his mother Kiana Mann in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Noah really wanted a virtual reality headset, and when he asked his mother if he could get one, she told him no. Once Noah was told no, he became enraged and came up with a sinister plan. On the morning of November 21st of 2022, Noah allegedly retrieved a handgun from the house and hid it in his nightstand. He waited until Kiana was doing laundry, shot her in the face, and ended her life instantly. Instead of calling for help, Noah went online, used his mother's credit card, and ordered that VR headset. That same morning, he also attacked his 7-year-old cousin, adding to family fears about his violent behavior. Noah was interviewed by investigators, and he stated that it was an accident, that he was just twirling the gun trying to scare her. But later, he ended up admitting that he aimed directly at his mom. Relatives revealed that Noah had troubling behavior. He had rage issues, he would roam the house at night, he spoke of imaginary people, and he once tried to start a fire with a balloon with flammable liquid. The state psychologist found signs of mild anxiety and psychotic symptoms, but stated that he was competent for trial. Even though Noah was only 10 years old, Wisconsin law states that homicide cases just like this need to start in adult court. If he is convicted of first-degree intentional homicide, he could face up to 60 years in prison.
Let me tell you about some crazy history that they didn't teach you in school. Bill Morgan was an Australian truck driver who was clinically dead for 14 minutes and spent 12 days in a coma back in the 90s. After he made his full recovery, he bought a scratch-off ticket to celebrate and won a car. During a TV reenactment of that win, he scratched another ticket live on camera and won $250,000. Bro, he wasn't meant to die yet. He's selling a course on how to get as much luck as he did. Joe Biden was born closer to Abraham Lincoln's second inauguration as president than his own inauguration as president. A German Jewish news photographer faked a broken arm so that he could sneak a camera into his cast to take a picture of the U.S. Supreme Court in session back in 1932, which is one of the only photos of that kind. There was a few months in the early 70s where you could see through the Twin Towers because it hadn't been fully built yet, and you could see the core structure right there in the middle.
This has got to be the scariest dog I've ever seen in my life. So this lady has been posting videos of her dog Lita to social media, and in these videos, Lita looks uncanny, to put it in the nicest way possible. Now, according to the lady, the reason Lita looks like this is because she has been through a lot. Now, she doesn't describe what a lot is, but I assume it is to hell and back. And so does everyone else in all the comments of the lady's videos, as people seem to be terrified of Lita.
How long you can survive without one of your organs, without one kidney. Your entire life. Without the nose. 65 years. Without the stomach. 5 years. Without the mouth. 3 days. Without the heart. 10 minutes. Without the bones. 8 minutes.
Really?
Without the brain.
That's instant, right?
6 minutes. Without the lungs. 5 minutes. Without the skin. 30 seconds. Without your phone. 0 seconds.
Really? Without the phone? People got a
Turns
problem.
out the singer David was diddling minors, and the girl found in his Tesla trunk was his underage dead girlfriend. He even had an unreleased song named after her called Celeste. It had matching tattoos that said shh on them with dots. At one time, she was even on the stream, and he kind of quietly shooed her away off camera. It was pretty weird. Now he is in hot trouble. He has canceled all his remaining tour dates, and now the investigation is getting heated. I feel like his lawyer is watching all the TikToks and all the stuff stack up with the evidence and sweating right now. Mind you, the girl was Celeste Rivera. She was 15 years old, and she was reported missing a whole year ago. I'm just wondering how long she was in that trunk for, and also her family made comments on this. They knew she had a boyfriend named David. I don't think they knew that this guy was like a 20-year-old singer. Investigators are treating her death like a homicide right now and investigating it like a homicide. A cause of death has not been announced, though. Her family has not really made any comments regarding her death yet, though. The story keeps changing because when I made the video a couple weeks ago or a week ago originally, they said the body wasn't that decomposed, it was slightly decomposed. Now they're saying it's severely decomposed. So it was probably in that trunk for many months. People are also saying that he released a song every single year on her birthday, and it is very odd with that unreleased song titled after her first name. Listen, if all these findings are just coincidental, that would be absolutely insane in his case. His sponsors have been dropping him like flies after the body was found, and people are starting to connect the dots. What is going on with everyone these days? Why is everyone diddling minors, dude? Also, the Epstein files, they haven't even released that yet. But, I'll keep you guys updated as this unfolds. This seems like it's going to be a huge case right now. I am actually very eager to see what they find next. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This 95-year-old just beat her roommate to death in the nursing home. She is not a sweet old lady. This happened at a nursing home in Brooklyn, New York, so apparently her roommate actually died by blunt force trauma. She literally smashed her head. On September 14th, that's when they found her dead. She was laying in bed with blood all over the place and gash marks and lacerations all over her head and neck. 95-year-old is being charged with second-degree murder and fourth-degree possession of a weapon. Also, they found the 95-year-old with a bloody hospital gown on, and she just had blood all over herself on her hands, legs, and everything, and she was washing herself off in a sink. So what weapon did this lady have? So she literally took the leg parts off of a wheelchair and beat this lady to death while she was in bed. It's the part that you rest your foot on in the wheelchair. That was covered in blood when they found it. News articles have been trying to reach out to this lady's lawyer, but the lawyer has not gotten back to anybody yet. I just want to know why exactly she killed the roommate. What is going on? You're 95 years old and you're committing murder. Is this her first time? Is the plot deeper than this? We'll see. But seriously, your nursing home roommate, you just beat her to death with a wheelchair, foot stand? That's weird. Let me know your thoughts about the story, guys.
Why? She's 95 years old and she did that? That doesn't even sound believable. Young or old, it don't matter. People doing things like that.
Here's some crazy history that they didn't teach you in school. This picture shows a list of proposed amendments that never passed. In 1876, there was an attempt to abolish the United States Senate, just overall. Also, the forbidding of religious leaders from occupying a governmental office. Dang, what was going on at that point? In 1893, we tried to rename the nation the United States of Earth. Bold choice. The same year, tried to abolish the United States Army and Navy. That definitely went the opposite way it was going to go. 1914, finding divorce to be illegal. Why are we attempting all this stuff? Anyone who votes for yes to go to war in a national vote has to register as a volunteer for service in the army. Wow. An attempt to limit personal wealth to $1 million. Interesting that it was in 1933 with the Great Depression. Probably somewhat popular today. Except maybe $1 billion is the number now instead of $1 million. Should people be allowed to have over $1 billion? Is this 1933? In 2033, are we going to get this brought back up 100 years later? Just 14 years after trying to limit that personal wealth to $1 million, they tried to not allow income tax over 25%. Wow, that flipped very fast. And in 1971, American citizens should have the alienable right to an environment free of pollution. Whoops.
Creepy last words was said right before dying. Registered nurse Shirley Smith said that she had a very rich patient who was a true Satanist that was dying of cancer. The patient had upside-down crosses and a Satan's Bible by her bedside. Shirley said that she will never forget what happened. It was the middle of the summer, and yet it was so cold and dark in her room that you couldn't even stand it, even in the middle of the day. She said that it got so evil feeling in there that she had to call a priest to pray with her and her aides before they would even enter the room. When the patient passed away, she had not spoken in over 24 hours. And then all of a sudden, she sat straight up and said, "Satan, take me." And then she fell back on the bed. Shirley said that after she passed, the room got bright and extremely warm. Shockingly, when they moved the patient's body, they had to get rid of the mattress because where her body had been, it looked burnt. And the most horrible smell was emanating from the mattress cover. Needless to say, Shirley went to confession immediately because she did not want an evil spirit around her. A nurse said that one of her patients had a serious recurrence and had to be admitted. Over the course of several nights, he had become quite upset during rounds. He kept asking for his wallet, saying that he had to pay the ferryman. The medical student on rotation in the department took a quarter out of his pocket and put it in the patient's hand. The patient then dropped the coin into the cup on his bedstand and calmed down. Later that night, he passed away quietly. The nurse asked what happened. The medical student, who remembered his Greek mythology, said that the patient had to pay Charon, the ferryman, to be taken across the river Styx. A nurse said that he was doing rounds at a hospital. There was one two-patient room, and one of the patients was a very loud and confused woman who could be quite a handful. On this particular night, she had a roommate who had passed away shortly before the nurse entered the room. She was DNR, so there was no code blue. When he entered the room, he noticed that the elderly lady, who was usually very loud and confused, was sitting quietly with her hands crossed neatly upon her lap. Something was different, and there was this look of serenity on her face. She asked him in a voice that seemed much younger and clearer than before, "Did you see them, young man? They're so beautiful." He said, "No, ma'am, there's no one else here." She said, "They're right next to you, talking to Mrs. Banneker. The angels. They're so beautiful." He said that he instantly felt every hair of his body stand up, and an electric tingle course up and down his spine. "They're not here for me this time," she said sadly.
Who are they here for then? I would get chills too, she said, but if I heard what she had saw. What is he doing? Looks like it's a hotel hallway.
Well, too bad, because negative energy is the only thing that's in this movie.
I I claim no negative energy for
If you
this.
come on here and you claim no negative energy, I'm sorry, because the negative energy is going to get you, and it's relentless. Dramatica pops into theaters on the 12th of September, and you're not going to want to miss this one. It's All Hallows Cleve. Like and follow for your daily dose of horror content. I got to see Dramatica before it hit the theaters, and you know what? This was a lot more different than I thought it was going to be. I guess I really should have paid attention more to the actual title, because this entire thing is filled with trauma and negative energy. It really makes you think, what happens to the survivors after psychological torment from a demon that feeds off of negative energy? For the movie itself is a little bit of a mixed bag. Some things worked, some things didn't. But I was surprised about a handful of things that the movie did actually accomplish. This is one of the first movies that I've seen in quite a while that does have the demon possession. It does have all that same stuff that we're kind of used to seeing in movies. But it takes that and kind of actually does something different with it. You get to see the torment of what all these people that are dealing with this demon actually are going through. Possessed and not possessed. Now, honestly, the trailer fools you in exactly the direction the movie is going to go. It is a very solid, scary movie. And for some of you, it might just scare the ever-living crap out of you. Kicks off like a rocket, and it doesn't stop either. From the very beginning of the movie, it will not give you a second to breathe. So good luck watching Dramatica in theaters on September 12th.
The boy you are looking at is one of the most eerie cases of all time. This is Joshua Maddox, an 18-year-old who was extremely quiet, very artistic, and loved playing the guitar. On May 8, 2008, Joshua told his sister that he was going to leave the house and go and take a walk. Joshua's family waited for him to return, but Joshua never came home. His family called the police, and the police created missing posters, put his name in the newspaper, and even searched the police database, but nothing was ever found on Joshua. Then 7 years later, a cabin found less than a mile from Joshua's home was set to be demolished, where they found something unusual in the chimney. Inside of this chimney was a body found in a fetal position crammed inside. The remains were so decomposed that it took DNA testing to confirm that this was in fact Joshua. Authorities claim that this was just an accident and Joshua took all of his clothes off and tried to get inside of this chimney to stay warm. But the thing that gets odd about this is Joshua's clothes were found next to him in a neatly folded position. Even creepier than that, a heavy metal grate was installed outside of the chimney, but it was installed from the inside. As far as for the person who owned the property, allegedly a man named Andy owned it, who was mentally unstable and had extremely violent tendencies. And after Joshua was reported missing, Andy just kind of took off. Despite all of this, the death was ruled accidental, but people to this day claim there had to have been some sort of foul play. This is one of those cases where I genuinely have no idea, because if we think about this from a reasonable standpoint, why would Joshua hop into this chimney, take all of his clothes off, and try and get warm when he could have easily just walked home? If you want to see more true crime stories, make sure to like and follow.
3 life hacks that simply everybody needs to know. Number 1, if you ever get a cut or a wound anywhere on your body, and yes, this might sound unbelievable, putting sugar on it will greatly reduce the pain and speed up the healing process. Number 2, just before you go to the gym or do a workout, if you eat an orange, it will prevent you from getting dehydrated, and it will also stop your muscles from being sore. And at number 3, if you're in the elevator and someone pushes all the buttons at once, don't worry. All you've got to do is press each button twice to avoid going to them floors. Once again, I hope all these tips help you out in the future, so take a minute to share all these life hacks with your friends.
The elevator one's helpful.
Disturbing backstories. This is a picture of famous Mexican singer Chelino Sanchez. And at one of his shows in 1992, he received a very weird note.
Her father-in-law secretly kept hundreds of photos of her, and not long after, she disappeared without a trace. Susan Cox Powell was born on October 16th of 1981, and she was originally from Oregon before she moved to West Valley City, Utah with her husband and 2 sons. She was described as a loving mother, but her marriage to her husband Josh was troubled. He was controlling with money, unstable with jobs, and often erratic. Susan often confided to others that she was scared of him, and she had even drafted a secret will that said, "If I die, it may have not been an accident." On December 6th of 2009, the family attended church, and she called a friend that evening. That would be the last time that anyone heard from her, and by December 7th, she was missing. When Josh spoke to police, he told them a bizarre story about how he took their sons camping in freezing weather after midnight, and Susan just stayed home. Inside of the home, police found 2 box fans blowing on wet carpet. They also found Susan's purse, phone, and keys left behind. But nothing about Josh's story made any sense. Their youngest son, Charlie, later told investigators, "Mommy went camping with us, but she didn't come back." Even friends had reported that Susan was talking about leaving her husband, and investigators believed that there was probably an argument that night. The case quickly shifted, and Josh was the prime suspect. As detectives were digging deeper, they uncovered another disturbing figure, Josh's father, Stephen Powell. Stephen was secretly obsessed with Susan and kept hundreds of hidden photos and videos of her. Many were taken without her knowledge, and he also wrote explicit journals about his fantasies with her. Susan had told her friends that she was deeply uncomfortable with him, and he had even tried to make advances towards her. Although Stephen was never charged in Susan's disappearance, many believe that he knew more than he admitted. In 2012, Stephen was convicted of having inappropriate photos of children when police had raided his home. In 2011, Josh ended up losing custody of his sons due to evidence of abuse, and they were placed in the custody of Susan's parents. Susan's body has never been found. Investigators believe that Josh had ended Susan's life the night she disappeared and hid her remains in the Utah desert or abandoned mine shafts. Steve ended up dying in 2018 and never revealed what he knew. Susan's family continues to honor her and her sons, pushing for stronger protection for domestic violence victims.
So you've probably heard of the 27 Club, but you probably haven't heard of the real-life curse behind it. What if I told you that the first person who joined the 27 Club made a deal with the devil? And I only know about all this because of all the research I had to do for this week's episode on scary legends from the South. So Robert Johnson was one of the best blues musicians in the world when he was poisoned at just 27 years old. And though his death was shocking to many, a lot of people said that it was because the devil was coming to collect on a deal they had made. So the legend goes that after Robert's wife died during childbirth, he went to a crossroads in the area where it was rumored the devil liked to hang out. And there he found a well-dressed man in a suit which he knew was the devil. He got down on his knees and asked the devil to make him the best blues musician in the entire world. He felt that was all he had after his wife died. So the devil took the guitar from Robert, tuned it, and then added another string to it. He handed the guitar back to Robert, basically saying, "If you take this guitar, you'll be the best blues musician in the world, but your soul will be mine." But Robert still took the guitar, and the rest was history. 7 years later, at the age of 27 years old, he passed out while playing the guitar on stage. He had been poisoned by a jealous man who knew that Robert was sleeping with his wife. In this week's episode, I get a little bit more into the context of the time and why people really thought that Robert had made the deal with the devil. That and other...
Part 1.
Okay.
Nestle, the chocolatier of horror. The Willy Wonka of the real world. Most people know Nestle for producing candies like Kit Kat and the Crunch Bar. But their history, unlike the products they sell, is anything but sweet. In the 1970s, Nestle began an aggressive marketing campaign in several underdeveloped countries in an attempt to promote their baby formula and increase profits. The problem was, their marketing tactics were completely unethical. They hired fake nurses and were handing out free samples in hospitals, all the while trying to convince local mothers that their formula was healthier than the free and natural breast milk they already had. And it worked. Mothers began using the formula. And then, when their milk dried up from a lack of use, they had no choice but to use the formula. A formula that, when mixed with the unclean drinking waters these communities had available to them, would become nothing short of deadly. At its peak, their formula is estimated to have caused more than 200,000 infants a year to lose their lives, and more than 10 million to date. The incident caused massive protests, and you might be thinking, surely since they still exist, they must have learned their lesson and changed their ways, right? Well, I'm afraid the answer is no. No, they did not. Comment if you want me to continue this series, and if this has changed your perspective towards Nestle, and follow for more.
Let's talk about this.
Definitely changed my perspective.
A TikToker named Samuel said he was walking through a parking lot when a random man suddenly called his name. Whoever made the packaging for bacon needs to be fired. Cause why is there no like Ziploc or anything on these packages? Who designed it? When I find you, I'm going to steal your dog. I'm gonna give you the worst life you can ever have. I hate you. He looked at the guy and got closer to see if he knew him. But he had no idea who he was. And he wondered, how did the guy even know his name? That's when things started to turn weird. The man asked him for $1 and said he knew that he had one on him right now. I don't know how he knew that, but I would have told him to mind your business. Stop pocket watching. Hey, I got a question. Do y'all like chocolate milk or strawberry milk? Comment down below. Samuel said at this point his heart was beating out of his chest. He told the man, yeah, I have $1. You can have it. The man then snatched the $1 out of his hand and asked him if he wanted to see something.
The man lifted up the back of his shirt, showed Samuel his tail. He then got on all fours, like an animal, you know, a dog, a lizard, and crawled away. Now look, man, I know this all sounds crazy, right? But as soon as Samuel had that interaction, he went straight to his car, recorded a TikTok video, uploaded the TikTok video. Okay, bro, so the weirdest thing just happened to me. Try this baby right here. No, that's a good BLT. I checked his page, and he hasn't posted since. That was his last video. If somebody knows Samuel, let me know if he's still alive, because that was his last video posted, and that was in 2022.
Damn. What do you guys think about the Skinwalker
While the
story?
world is focusing on Florida, not many people know that the Sahara Desert is flooding right now. And the pictures are insane. After 6 consecutive years of drought, the Moroccan Sahara was hit with what meteorologists called an extra-tropical storm. And it brought an amount of rain that the region hasn't seen in up to 50 years. And here's the crazy part. This flooding may actually change the course of the region's weather for months and years to come. That's because the air will now retain more moisture, which causes more evaporation and draws in more storms. NASA satellites show water rushing in to fill the famous Lake Erie, which had been dry for almost 50 years. This is the scare.
That's kind of scary, man, to see how our planet's reacting, bro. It's called the Sahara Desert for a reason, man. And it's flooded now, bro. That's proof right there that we need, bro. That our planet is changing. We gotta do better, man.
Scariest thing that ever happened to America. Okay, we all know that America had a lot of scary things happen to it. But what I'm about to tell you has to be the scariest thing ever. On August 29th, 1968, every single TV in America shut down. And a demonic whispering was coming from every single TV in America. Many people believed it was the devil trying to get across some sort of message, but nobody really understood it. This lasted for about 25 seconds, and then all the TVs came back on. To this day, nobody knows what caused it or why it happened, but every single person believed it was the works of the devil.
Could that have just been a glitch in the system? Or something else, man. Eerie spirit trying to, like I say, get a message across. That's obviously an edit right there.
Times when companies dissed others, part 3.
Okay.
In 2001, Coca-Cola announced that they sold 4 more times than Pepsi. So Pepsi, being salty, decided to create this whole ad of a boy going to a vending machine, getting 2 Cokes from the vending machine, just so he can stand on the cans and get a Pepsi. They are honestly ruthless for this. Next, in 2014, Mercedes made a commercial showing how a chicken can keep their head still while their bodies move, saying Mercedes can do the same thing with their car stability. However, the car company Jaguar saw this and decided to make almost the exact same commercial.
Word for word, bar for bar, bro.
But at the end, a jaguar straight up destroys the chicken. That's cruel. Scary facts you'll think about at night. Only the lizards squirt blood from their eyes. The Devil's Bible is a rule book. If the sun exploded, you would not know about it for 8 minutes.
Wow.
20% of children report hearing voices.
There is something sinister that's occurred in the heart of Caddo Lake. An 8-year-old girl has completely vanished in or near the lake, which of course has left her family and loved ones completely devastated. This place is nestled within a remote and desolate swamp. Caddo Lake is shrouded in mystery. It's dark trees, murky waters, and there are countless hidden spots that would make it perfect for somebody to disappear. As the search for Anna continues, there has been a startling discovery. There are secrets buried deep within this eerie lake, far more than I think anybody could have imagined. Now, this chilling premise is the basis for the latest suspense and mystery film, produced by M. Night Shyamalan, premiering on Max Thursday, October 10th. Don't miss the stars Dylan O'Brien and Eliza Scanlon as they unravel the terrifying secrets hidden beneath the surface, only on Max.
This is how
Should I check that out?
actually are. Firstly, less than 1% of people can swallow 5 times on a single breath. So hold your breath and just swallow your saliva 5 times. It is very difficult to do. I can do it, but my siblings can't. So 20% of people have a gap in their teeth
I had a really bad tooth gap back in the day, so if anyone makes fun of you for having a tooth gap, just know you are more rare than them. If you're a naturally blonde individual, man or woman, you're actually quite rare in comparison to the rest of the world, because only 2% of people are naturally blonde, so pretty cool. Here are some new animals that were discovered in 2023. Only 42% of the earth has been discovered, so it's no surprise that new animals keep spawning. So let's see. The first known fox dog has just been discovered in Brazil after being hit by a car. I beg your pardon? But
what?
It did survive. That is one gangster-ass dog. I would definitely adopt this creature. If it doesn't eat cats, because I don't want Ash getting clapped. Speaking of cats, in Australia, they found a new type of cat shark. What is a cat shark? And they called it a demon cat shark because apparently it looks like a demon. Yeah, I kind of see it. I don't know what that is, but staying far away from that. Lastly, a new flying cockroach was discovered in the Philippines. And apparently it's so fast that you can't even catch it.
Whoa. You still freaking learning new animals up to this year, bro? Makes you think, man. What else have we discovered? Earth is a big place, especially under the sea. We don't know what's lurking in there.
Money facts that will blow your mind. Content creators on OnlyFans made more money than all of the NBA players combined. Kirinikov has made more in 3 years than Klay Thompson has in his recent 3-year NBA contract. If you've been subscribed to Netflix since 2007, you've paid them almost $2,000. If you had instead invested that $2,000 into Netflix back then, you would have over $350,000 today. Paul Walker secretly bought a $9,000 engagement ring for an Iraq veteran that he overheard in a jewelry store telling his soon-to-be wife that he wasn't going to be able to afford it. Disney spends $50 million a year on fireworks. That's over $130,000 a night. Amazon will lose over $1 billion a year if it went 1 second slower. These are the average retirement savings in the United States by age group. The average for under 35 is $50,000. Average by the time you're 65 is over $600,000. The New York Stock Exchange is owned by a company named Intercontinental Exchange, which has its stock listed on the New York Stock Exchange.
This is why you should.
I'm sorry, it's just that freaking OnlyFans versus NBA salaries, man, it's getting to me, bro. That many people are subbing up to OnlyFans where they're making more than NBA players. Damn, that's a shame, bro. I would even think something like that's possible, man. They making meals, bro, a month? Whew. What does the world come to, Seeky?
To be scared of Ouija boards. A former Reddit user said that he used a Ouija board with results and let something into his home. He said that he has also been physically assaulted by this entity. He said that it started out with the feeling that he was being watched. Doors closing and footsteps on the hardwood floor when he was home alone. All of this slowly progressed into being kept awake by something shaking the bed and pulling off the covers. He said that sometimes he even heard whispers of his name. The board would disappear for days on end and then show up in places that he never even put it. He became obsessed with it. Things got even worse though. He said that he began to see a black mass in the corner of the room and the silhouette of a man watching him from the doorway. One night, the paranormal activity escalated into a full-blown attack. He said that he had his hair pulled, fingers pricked, and that he was choked while being held down in bed. During the attack, he claims that this thing whispered into his ear in what could have only been Latin. After this event, he finally decided to have his house blessed, and fortunately, this entity hasn't shown back up. He said that he will never again play with one of those boards.
These are the top 5
I
most
never
disturbing
do.
entities from the Home Safety Hotline DLC. At number 5, we have the False Caroler. These are basically big humanoid creatures with feathers. They approach your front door after dark and start this weird, twisted singing. They do this so they can lure you out, take you away, and feed you to their young. At number 4, we have Lucy. If it's hailing outside, watch out because Lucy can slip into your home. Once inside, she tries to look for humans and pets to steal their warmth. At number 3, we have the Hunt. This is not a snowstorm, it's fungus. What looks like snow here is actually spores. And those spores turn people into whites, basically coughing zombies that die after 48 hours. At number 2, we have Hans. Hans is a cloth creature that occupies homes. And once it does, it changes the personalities of the people that live there, making them more hazardous and wild. And at number 1, is Perchta. If you have a messy home, there's a chance that Perchta could come visit. And if she finds you there, she literally turns you into a scarecrow, killing you instantly.
3 disturbing facts about your favorite cartoons. Number 3. Peter Pan is actually the angel of death. He would take kids to Neverland, which represented the afterlife. That's why none of the kids there get older, because they're already dead. Number 2. In Winnie the Pooh, Christopher Robin has severe schizophrenia, and all the other characters represent his mental disorder. Tigger, ADHD, Eeyore, depression, Piglet, anxiety. Bloody sad. And number 1. Pokemon was never real. In episode 1, Ash Ketchum falls off his bike and lands directly on his head, which then puts him into a coma. And it's led to believe that his entire journey after that is all in his head. Day officially ruined. Cheers, legends.
I thought he had to catch them all though, bro. What the
weirdest
heck?
facts about Australia you didn't know. Kangaroos have 3 vaginas. Next, Australia has the biggest cattle farm in the world. And it is bigger than the whole country of Israel in size. Moving on, there's around 10,000 beaches in Australia, but less than 1,000 of them can be visited at any time. And you know, around 80% of all plants and animals are unique to Australia, meaning you can find them anywhere else in the world.
Wow. I need to go to Australia, bro. That's on the bucket list, man. But I heard they got some big spiders. I know we don't do that, though. They're huge, man, over Australia. That's it.
The worst times to be alive in history, part 1. 536 AD. In 536 AD, most of the world went dark for up to 18 months, as a mysterious fog ruled over Europe, the Middle East, and a part of Asia. The fog blocked the sun during the day, causing temperatures to drop, crops to fail, and people to die. Follow for the next time.
You are going to want to keep the light on for these spooky facts from history. Princess Anastasia and her sisters were actually very close to Rasputin. They were taught to treat him as their friend and confidant, and when they died, it was revealed that they each wore amulets with his picture inside. Mary I of England wanted a child so badly, she actually had a phantom pregnancy. Her abdomen swelled, she stopped menstruating, and she even vomited in the mornings. But no child came. The most chilling part, Mary thought it was God punishing her for tolerating heretics. The incident may very well have led to her brutal punishments of non-Catholics, earning her the nickname Bloody Mary. In the summer of 1518 in Strasbourg, France, a lone woman started dancing in the streets. But soon enough, people joined her, and they couldn't stop. The so-called dancing plague lasted for months, was maybe even fatal, and its reasons are still unknown today. In Brazil one year, a 2-year-old boy died of pneumonia, but the family was shocked when he sat upright at the funeral and asked for a glass of water. Then suddenly, he collapsed again, leaving the coroner to proclaim him dead once more.
What? Twice, man? He woke up, asked for some water, and then gone again? That is chilling, bro.
Spookiest facts that will keep you up at night. There's over 100 known serial killers that haven't been caught. The world's largest pyramid is not in Egypt, but in Mexico. 12% of people dream without any color imagery. The human body contains enough fat to make 7 bars of soap.
Not the scariest thing in the ocean. Close, but not the scariest thing in the ocean. Not even the Oreo equalizer. Nah, the last animal I would want to see in the ocean, bro, let me tell you about this squid. Now, at 5 feet, 100 pounds, a Humboldt ain't even that big. Now, what makes the satanic cephalopod such a menace is they can hunt in packs of not tens, not hundreds, but up to and over 1,000. Yeah, that's 3 zeros like a Tony Snell stat line. They're called the Red Devil because they can rapidly flash the color red, and they use these flashes to communicate. It's like Morse code, but for crippin' calamari. We don't know exactly how it works, but it's believed if a squid grabs something and suddenly starts pulsing red, it could be telling every squid in the area that it's free eats out here. By the way, most deep sea animals can't even see the color red. They really color coordinate with the worst side of the spectrum. Just imagine getting hunted by that. Diablo Rojo has a beak that can slice flesh, apparently crack bone, and we know they'll actively bring that smoke to humans. There's more than a couple stories of divers getting jumped by squid and nearly getting pulled into the abyss. There's also reports of them attempting to rip the masks off divers. Like, too many times for it to just be a coincidence. And see, the thing is, an orca's never offed a person in the wild, and a shark biting you is like me biting a wing and tasting cauliflower. It's an unfortunate occurrence, except the wing can't scream. There's no doubt in my mind a pack of predatory squid would off a person. They're not even safe from themselves. They are highly cannibalistic. Like, it's a legit part of their diet. It's a different type of friendly fire. If they see a sick or injured member of their own shoal, they will eat it alive. Fun fact, if you're fishing and catch a Humboldt, you really catch 4. The one you got and the 3 others tearing it apart while you pull it up. They've also been known to destroy camera equipment and gear because aggression and violence is how they respond to the things they don't understand. Worst part is, you can get jumped by a squid, escape, and if you surface too fast, you can still end up part of the past. The ocean's so unserious. The more you know.
Blood-curdling facts that you
Stay
wish
away
you
from
never
squid.
knew. Part 21.
This photo shows an 8-month-old Zhao Bao who is lucky to be alive because his mother stabbed him 90 times after he bit her while she was breastfeeding him. The world's scariest haunted house, McCamey Manor, requires you to sign a 40-page waiver and undergo a physical and mental evaluation. If you manage to make it through the house, you could win $20,000. But to this day, no one has ever made it through. Roman Emperor Nero had a boy castrated, dressed him up as a bride, and married him, all because the boy looked similar to his previous dead wife. A 46-year-old man found and attacked a 13-year-old boy because the kid was killing him too many times in a game of Call of Duty.
How the hell did he even track him down? I'm telling you, bro, you gotta be careful even on the games nowadays, bro. People take things too seriously. They will hunt you down.
Scary videos from China. In the country, there are many secret prisons known as black jails. One day, a journalist was given the address of one of these, and this is what she found. The woman asks the reporter if she's here to save her, but the guards quickly lock the door. The woman in the video had been taken here off the record. This video shows a man on death row saying his final goodbyes. The man's name is Li Shiyan. He begs his mother not to cry. Li also bows down as a sign of respect, before being led away to meet his fate. This is a forgotten underground village. It's located in Gansu province. The people here have no food, water, or electricity. Some work in dangerous conditions in the local mine, earning just 30 cents per day. The people are very poor and neglected.
What makes Art the Clown so
30
terrifying
cents?
is that even he doesn't know how powerful
Nah.
he is. When the first Terrifier came out, Art was clearly just your average psychopath who likes to dress up as a clown. But when Terrifier 2 came out, that's when everything changed. Not only for, the plot or the world building, but specifically for Art. Director Damon Leone admitted in an interview that when Art came back to life in the beginning of the second movie, even he was surprised, which sets an entirely different tone for the movie. When the little girl came out of nowhere, when he kind of opened up a gate to hell, instead of being scared, the guy was laughing. Director Damon Leone admitted that he knows how this whole Terrifier saga is going to end, and everything was truly set in motion in Terrifier 2, which is when Leone really knew what he wanted to do with the character Art the Clown. Because every appearance of the clown prior to that wasn't necessarily half-baked, but even Leone admits that Art the Clown didn't necessarily come at him all at once, and it took him a while to truly figure out who that character was. However, with that said, I don't think we know exactly what Art the Clown is truly capable of. Admittedly, I have yet to see Terrifier 3, but from what I have seen online, this is far from the last time we will get to see this dude on screen. And given how Terrifier 2 ends, I imagine Art's true ending for this franchise is going to be one of the most historical events in horror movie history. God, I love these movies.
People who went missing and were found alive years later. In 2011, two fishermen from Kiribati were lost at sea for 33 days before they landed on the Marshall Islands, and when they arrived, locals took them to meet the only person on the island who spoke their language. Well, the fishermen then discovered that the only person who spoke the language was one of the fishermen's uncles who went missing 50 years earlier, who also got lost at sea. He was thought to be dead, but it turned out the uncle was perfectly fine and had a whole new life. Next, in 1997, a family in China had their young son abducted outside their home. And when an official search couldn't find their son, the father started his own search. So for the next 2 decades, he would travel all over China on motorbikes with flags of his son and would hand out flyers everywhere. And 24 years after he spent all of his life savings, his son was finally found. Props to that father.
Friendly reminder, if you think the government won't, they absolutely
That's a
will.
blessing.
Remember that time the CIA tried to weaponize otters? It went a lot better than the dolphins, but that's only because the otters didn't off themselves. Basically, otters are a lot smarter than they get credit for. They're part of the class of animals that can use tools, and they might have one up on dolphins in that department. Add the fact that they're the only mammal that can take the ocean without blubber, can be trained by humans, and it's basically a brainy, beachside honey badger with all the audacity, but seasoned with pretty privilege. Someone in the CIA saw this aggressive water war weasel and said, give him a fedora, he can do a lot for you. Let's make otter agents. Which led to the Otter Dossier. Also, apparently whatever they were doing had something to do with Project MK Ultra. if you think they want. Anyway, here's some stuff you can find in the dossier. They found otters can open zippers and climb ladders. Seemed a little too excited about them being able to carry things and throw objects with their mouth. Otters can chew through a sink sheet. I don't know how they found that. At one point, they say they become devoted to humans, which can lead to their destruction. Whose destruction exactly? They made sure to mention that because they can dive up to 60 feet and can hold their breath longer than 5 minutes, they can enter and leave boats without being seen. There's also a do's and don'ts section, and at the very top of the list, they say, never take food from an otter or suffer severe mauling. Somewhere the reason for that rule is sitting in a room with PTSD and missing fingers. There's also some cute stuff, like otters being ticklish and them using that to make them listen. There's also a blurb about taking care of babies, specifically their diarrhea. Once again, the cost of that knowledge was somebody's innocence. Anyway, it's pretty interesting. You should probably check it out on your own. But yeah, the CIA was definitely plotting something. And it involved weapons of utter destruction.
Reach, because he was living his best life on a 3-week hiking trip in the Montana mountains. His wife's phone, who he was with, found a spot of service on the last day, where she was flooded with over 200 text messages, which he thought was a joke being played by all their friends. Apparently, finding out you're a Nobel Peace Prize winner is commonly a hilarious process. Like in 2020, when the winner unplugged his phone in the middle of the night after getting the call because, of course, you get a call saying you're a Nobel Peace Prize winner, you're not going to believe it. So instead, his co-winner walked to his house in his PJs and delivered the news through his security camera on his front door.
You've won the Nobel Prize. And so they're trying to reach you, but they cannot. They don't seem to have a number for you.
Like, is that something people who win this are trying to do? It's not like an Oscar where you're sitting there with 5 nominees waiting to find out. You're just getting a call like, hey, you were like a big impact on peace this year. Here you go. I would definitely think it's a scam call. Fun story, though.
This is what the year 2067 will look like if things keep going the way they're going.
The year is 2067. Nobody can afford to move out anymore, so you live with your kids and your kids' kids in your $14,000 a month, 800 square foot, 3-bedroom
That's the way it's going.
by BlackRock. You just got back from a long day of working at your government and did filming of Beast Games on Amazon Prime, sponsored by Palantir. That's how you afford your groceries at your local Lockheed Martin supermarket. You're still 20 years away from retiring. Eggs are $32 and the federal minimum wage is $10. There's a Tesla microchip planted in your head that you need to be able to vote, but you can only afford the basic monthly subscription, so you still get Papa John's commercials pumped directly into your eyeball every hour on the hour.
Black Mirror.
Shaq is still the face of the company. They use AI to download his subconscious and repurpose it for commercial use, so they own the rights to him. Technically, you're leaving tonight to go on a camping trip for the one day you get off every week. The national park closest to you was bought out by Microsoft decades ago, so your ticket to entry is a Microsoft Suites package. Don't worry, teams can still reach you out there. You better leave soon. It's going to take 5 hours to get there. There's citywide gridlock and no public transport in every single major city across the U.S. For the working class, at least. The top 1% gets a private jet and helicopter everywhere because they don't want to sit in the traffic. It's 124 degrees out. The ozone layer doesn't exist anymore, and neither do bees or glaciers.
This is how it's
water,
going to
still
be.
at war in the Middle East, but don't worry. Starbucks just came out with some new summer refreshers. OnlyFans Orange and Prize Picks Peach. They're 176 grams of sugar and vegetables are only for the mega wealth. But your honor is epic, so you can sip on 3 of them while you doom scroll AI-generated content and slip into extinction.
With everything that's going on in the year 2025, including 3i Atlas and alleged UFO sightings all across the world, now we have even more things to be concerned about. This latest headline out of the New York Post, UFO tracker, shows thousands of eerie underwater objects lurking along the U.S. coast. Like many of you, I was shocked to even know we have a UFO tracker. You can actually download certain apps, okay, in the Google Play Store and the App Store that'll help you track alleged UFOs. Now, one of the crazier parts of the story is they actually released what was tracked and where it was found. This is a chart of the east coast of the United States. Take a look at how many objects, unidentified objects, are under the water lurking all up the east coast of the United States of America.
Scared.
Is all this talk now starting to add up because of the alleged arrival of 3i Atlas at the end of the month? There are so many unanswered questions, but the one thing I want you to keep in the back of your mind, as I say in all my videos, please take this as entertainment purposes only. This is for entertainment purposes only, because like I said, it may be reported in the news or all over social media, but no one has come out and officially confirmed any of this information. So I guess my question to you is, do you think this is just another distraction? Or is it something we need to be concerned with? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
You're going to be traumatized when
Distraction.
I tell you what this is. Can you tell what this is? What about this? Can you tell what this is? And this? What about this one? You might be seeing what I'm talking about. Yes, that is the Jaws animatronic before it breaks the water, when it's completely submerged. And that's what it looks like outside of the water. Let's look at it again. Oh my god, you can see the outline of the mouth. I hate everything about this, by the way. And this one is the one where it like bites the wire and it like gets blown up. And this is what it looks like when it's out of the water. And yeah, let's look at it again. Completely submerged before it comes out of the water. Oh, my lanta. Also, this is what the pit looks like when that entire pool is completely drained. The mechanics under the water. No. And this again is this one where the Jaws animatronic breaches the water and is out of the water. Why completely underwater are they so much scarier? If you're not scared of the shark animatronic from Jaws, the ride, I don't trust you.
One of the biggest mysteries from the Louvre heist is why the thieves didn't steal this diamond. And I personally think it's because this is one of the most cursed objects at the Louvre, and I think the thieves knew that. This is the Regent diamond. It's a 140-carat diamond that's estimated to be about $60 million. The curse is said to have started the moment the diamond was removed from the earth. This diamond comes from India around 1700, and according to the legend, it was actually an enslaved person who removed the diamond and then was immediately murdered in cold blood so that an English ship captain could take it. And I mean, we don't have to get technical about it, but it's kind of already a stolen object. Other ones that they stole, which kind of made investigators think that they intentionally left it behind. But what they didn't realize is this is one of the most cursed objects at the Louvre. It's said to be worn by all sorts of French royalty who met really grisly endings. It was Napoleon Bonaparte's favorite decoration for his swords, and he would go on to die in exile. It was also a favorite gem of Marie Antoinette and her husband Louis XVI, who both of them would go on to be guillotined.
You won't believe.
So did they know? What does that mean, bro? What if we can the new Rockstar's Batman thumbnail? Does he know? Because there's no way, man, they getting all those diamonds and they just leave that. Someone in that crew had to know something.
What Iceland is trying to do with their lava. They call it lava forming, and they have the ambitious plan to build entire cities out of it, giving it the most dystopian aesthetic I've ever seen. But hear me out. It's actually not as crazy as it sounds. You see, Iceland is one of the most active volcanic regions in the world. And when they had those massive eruptions in 2023, looking at the enormous amount of material rising to the surface, the head of a firm called SAP Architar said, "Holy, we could build a whole city in 1 week with all of that." And to be fair to her, lava is pretty damn amazing because it already naturally has all of the materialities that concrete does, but crucially without the massive CO2 footprint. So currently the project has 3 speculative ideas on how to build, I don't know, lava land. The first method would be, instead of waiting for the eruptions, they drill down to reach the underground magma and then channel it into molds where it cools and solidifies into blocks, beams, and panels. Method 2 gets a little more complicated, but they'll dig precise trenches around active volcanoes, which, once it erupts, they would channel the lava into the foundations and walls of an entire city, which would simultaneously protect it from future eruptions. And then, the third and most forward-thinking of the 3 methods would be to harness the technology of robotics and 3D printing. So, envision a whole fleet of these future robots capable of walking across hot lava fields and then scoop up and use the lava as ink, if you will, to then 3D print buildings layer by layer. Okay, that one is just as crazy as it sounds. But the question is, which one would we see first? Iceland's lava land or Saudi's the line? Or neither?
So scientists have made a shocking discovery that is undeniably the truth. So back in Genesis, when God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah with fire and brimstone, Lot and his family had been rescued by angels. However, Lot's wife looked back and she became a pillar of salt. And that pillar of salt has been found in the land where Sodom and Gomorrah has been believed to be. So this discovery has been made by scientists and archaeologists. You might say, well, didn't they been discover that? Sure, it was Christian archaeologists who found it before. Now it's normal scientists, secular scientists, that have found this discovery.
Now people are understanding that the Bible is not just a religious book. It is history. It is just like any other book that told stories about history. The history about Sodom and Gomorrah, the history about, even in Sodom and Gomorrah, they still find sulfur balls, which can only be found if there was some type of fire and brimstone, which also shows that it had been destroyed by fire and brimstone that rained down from heaven. It seems like they are finding so many different themes in the Bible, and they are finding them in real life, and it's so awesome because now people, you can try and deny it all you want, but they're finding legit facts, and the Bible wrote about it before. That is proving the Bible true.
The Black Pearl? Oh, yes. The whole reason that Jack Sparrow's ship was black. There's this whole scene where they give that backstory. Apparently, Jack Sparrow worked for the East India Trading Company forever ago, and the Black Pearl was given to him under contract from Beckett to be running goods from these places. Well, he goes on one of these assignments to pick up cargo. He gets there and it's slaves. He frees them all. Beckett catches up and lights the ship on fire. It burns down and sinks. And when in the deleted scene, but Johnny Depp's line, he said people are cargo.
They burnt the Black Pearl and then he made a deal with Davy Jones
to bring it back.
And
that's
so
why
it's the Black Pearl because it was burnt.
And that's why also people are terrified when they see the Black Pearl. Because it shouldn't exist.
It shouldn't be there.
Isn't that awesome?
Why would you delete that?
Oh my God, that's the best.
That makes it way cooler.
If that was established in the first movie, or even that was the twist at the end.
Why is this pirate this insanely moral person? Well, he was a cargo ship. Yeah, and he always chooses the better moral thing to do.
Everything this girl said in this video is 100% true. I remember them telling me the blood was blue in my body too. And they didn't just tell me, they told the whole classroom. I was taught this, the people in my class was taught this, the people in the other class was taught this. Now they're trying to say they never said it? Man, watch out.
I'm almost 100% sure that they taught us that blood was blue inside the body until it hits oxygen and then it turns red. And I just saw a video of a 6th grade teacher talking about why do her 6th graders think that blood is blue. And my first thought was, how do you, as a teacher, not know that blood is blue until it hits oxygen? And then I looked it up, and apparently that was never true. So now I'm wondering, because I could have sworn they taught us this in schools, I don't even know if this is a Mandela effect or if this is just misinformation.
They are fucking with the system. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below in the comments. Was you ever taught this or not?
I was actually taught that the blood is blue until it hits the air because of the CO2. So I don't know if they try to play mind tricks on us, man, trying to make us forget that past information, but I know, bro. Any of you seekers, did you guys say that when you were kids?
Group 7, I think we cracked the code. Not only is the whole world speaking about Group 7 right now, but now Group 7 has a Netflix playlist. You heard what I just said? I just said that Group 7 has a Netflix playlist. Oh, you don't believe me, right? Look at this shit. Tell me what that said right there. Group 7 only. See, y'all playing with this shit. But just think about the shit that can be done if we utilize this shit the right way. Another thing, and I don't know if you saw this, if you search Group 7 on TikTok, Group 7, they're saying your whole screen will turn orange. You have to try it. I tried it. It works. I'm not going to do it now. But try it. Back to the BS. Y'all don't understand how deep this shit is right now. We can be using this for the greater good. And by the greater good, I mean, we could be using this to get a lot of money. Group 7, tap in. Because it's the time, and the time is right now. Everybody in the whole entire world knows about Group 7. If you're in Group 7, really in Group 7, I'm talking about from the beginning. You know what it is, and I'm talking to you.
Call it Italian wine magic. Some people in the mob used to do it. Like the Italian mafia, they used to use this to tell if somebody was lying or not. Yeah. They would get a bottle of wine, right? And let's say I had a couple friends over, and there was one person I wanted to test and see if they're lying to me. Okay. I would pop the cork, get the bottle, and I would whisper a word into the top of the bottle. What happens is you're gonna pour the wine for everyone, and if the person says the word that you said into the bottle during the dinner, yeah, it could be a random word, and you're not supposed to lead them to saying it. If anything, kind of avoid it. Yeah. But if they say the word that you said into the wine bottle, then they're lying to you or they're doing you dirty. And the mafia used to do this.
My God! Albania just announced they're replacing their entire corrupt government with AI ministers, and this isn't a joke. This is an actual plan from their prime minister. Prime Minister Edi Rama stood up and said they're going to let artificial intelligence run government departments because humans keep taking bribes and hiring their families for positions they don't deserve. His exact pitch was no nepotism, no conflicts of interest, maybe even a ministry run entirely by AI. Here's why this is actually being considered. Albania has massive corruption problems that have been blocking their entry into the European Union for years. Every reform attempt failed because humans in power kept finding ways to abuse the system. So now they're saying, let's just remove humans from the equation entirely. Former government officials are actually agreeing with this. They're saying artificial intelligence doesn't take bribes, doesn't need a salary, never stops working, and can't be influenced by family connections or political pressure. Albania would become the first country in human history to have artificial intelligence running actual government departments, making real decisions that affect millions of people. They're not talking about AI assistants or AI advisors. They mean full replacement. AI ministers with actual authority. What is your stand on this matter? Do you support this move of a fully AI government?
But it turns out, no. That Kanye West was right this whole time. Kim Kardashian seemingly lets her daughter do whatever she wants. She's wearing face tattoos. Playboy Cardi says that he wants to make a song with her. She's 12 years old. She looks like a Tekashi 6ix9ine Labubu. She is already being sucked into this insanely demonic lifestyle, and Kim doesn't seem to care. And Kanye's actually making it seem like Kim wants this for her. And Kim turns off all the comments on all of these videos because she knows that she's going to get criticized, or creeps on the internet are going to leave weird comments. So why even let her post these in the first place? Well, Kanye in his news post just called her out for it.
Stop antagonizing me. I'm not allowing my daughter to be used by TikTok, to be used by Disney.
Don't get me wrong, I actually think that Northwest is funny. It just feels like nobody is there to reel her in at all. If anything, based on Kim's track record, she's gonna let Northwest go as far as she wants to go. And don't get me wrong, I like Kim. I think that she actually does care about her daughter. But there's absolutely nobody in this family that's living in the real world. Just look at what happened to Jaden Smith. Do you think that she'd be better off with Kim or Kanye raising her?
You, Pat?
Tell me down below, Sage, what do you guys think about that situation?
That's the healthy lung test. Did you pass the test?
You know,
Pass it with flying colors, bro.
Cats around them, there's a dark reason. So do cats randomly come up to you?
Sometimes why?
So if a cat comes up to you, it means you are carrying really bad or negative energy. This is one of the many reasons why ancient Egyptians always had cats around them in their homes and in temples, because they thought cats have ability to absorb bad energy. They believed cats had protective qualities both physically and spiritually. They are kind of like little energy cleaners. That's why you'll often see a cat cozying up to someone who might unknowingly be carrying negative energy, and who always has cats in folklore with witches, because they are dealing with what? They are dealing with negative energies, and cats are said to help them absorb and neutralize these dark forces. The idea of cats as companions to witches wasn't just about their mysterious nature. It was also tied to the belief that cats could act as shields or purifiers, absorbing the negativity around them. So if a cat comes up to you and cuddles or lingers around, some believe it means you might have some bad energy clinging to you.
Some of you guys won't believe me, but I've been telling you guys this for quite some time, that we live in a cosmic video game, and the sky that you see is actually an LCD screen. And if you don't believe me, check this video over here. This guy was recording this weird anomaly in the sky, right? I don't know what this is, right? But he captures something even more magnificent. The sky goes from this hazy, gray, purplish color to completely blue. This is in Dublin, Ireland, y'all. Excuse me. Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that?
4K.
Look at this, y'all. Let me replay it back for you guys. There are no cuts or nothing. It startled him, so he moved the camera. But it goes from this. Look at this. What happened? Where did this thing go? What? I've been telling y'all this. Our sky is alive and it is aware. It's a sentient being just like every other thing in this world. They told us in the movie 3 Body Problem that our sky is alive. Check this out.
Stefan, are you awake? Awake and aware. I understand my purpose. I am ready to return to my original size. Please proceed.
Now look at that, right? Kind of like the same thing we just seen, right? Look at this anomaly. A lot of people are in for a rude awakening because I've been telling you guys for quite some time that we live in an artificial matrix, a cosmic simulation video game. A lot of your neighbors, they're not real. In this government, they're not real people. They're just projected simulation holograms. That's literally what they are. Quantum physics states alone that physicality is not real. And this is what a lot of people are about to figure out. We're literally souls having a physical human experience. We're watching the dissolution of this matrix in real time. That's why the sky is falling. Y'all see the sky closer. Y'all notice that, right? The clouds are on the floor. Let me know what you guys think about this video, y'all. The ship is here. Let's continue to get it. You see it. You feel it.
Most dangerous kid in the entire world, part 2. Raquel opened up the oven and saw her 19-month-old baby with burns all over her body. The child wasn't moving or breathing at all. They called the ambulance, but it was already too late. They lost their child. There were no charges against the 3-year-old, but the parents got child endangerment and they actually got their kid taken away by foster care. The worst part about this is their grandmother actually lived in the same apartment building and could have been avoided if she just would have babysat them.
Why didn't she?
Disturbing facts that will ruin your day. There are between 25 and 50 active serial killers in the United States at any given time, according to the FBI. If you live a full life, you're going to have shed over 100 pounds of your skin. Cruise ships are legally required to have morgues for the passengers that inevitably will die on each trip. A Nightmare on Elm Street was inspired by a true story. A boy was having disturbing nightmares and refused to sleep for multiple days. The same night that he succumbed to exhaustion, he died in his sleep, but not before screaming for help in the middle of the night because of his nightmares. If you try to grab the brain in its natural state, it will fall apart. When you see scientists pick up a brain, it's because they've used chemicals to harden it. There are still 40 million people worldwide that are slaves. 3 in 4 of those are women, and 1 in 4 are children. Follow for more.
You gotta solve that, man. That's unacceptable.
This is why you should always lock your doors. A junior in high school was home alone working on a paper while his parents were out to dinner. All night he sits with his back to his door, sitting at his desk with his noise-canceling headphones on. Around 11 o'clock he takes his headphones off at the same time his parents are returning to the house, and he hears his mom from downstairs yell, "Hey Adrian, what happened?" Confused, he runs downstairs and sees right away what she's looking at, muddy footprints all over the rug. He tells her, "I didn't leave my desk." And then they realize someone must have broken in. They look at the footprints and there's none leaving the house. They're worried someone's still in the house, so they run into the garage, terrified, call the police. Police arrive and they don't find anyone in the house, but they do make a chilling discovery upstairs. The police bring them to the kid's bedroom door, which had been left open all night, and they point to the message written on it in Sharpie. This is the actual transcript of what was written on his door, which means for nearly 2 hours, someone stood in this kid's doorway watching him.
That's why I don't wear those noise cancellation headphones.
Here's why you should stop rubbing your eyes.
That was no joke. You seriously need to stop rubbing your eyes as much, and here's why. Trust me, you might want to favorite this video because you might need this as a reminder in the future. Let's be honest, we're all guilty of this at some point. But I bet you didn't know that continually rubbing your eyes can actually cause really bad damage to your cornea. In fact, it can thin out your cornea, causing it to bulge. I mean, let's go back to the MRI footage. This is someone rubbing their eye, visibly being able to see the pressure it puts on your eye, and the way that the eye can actually change shape, increasing the pressure on your eye by 20 times. And it gets worse if you rub your eyes with your knuckles or the back of your hand. So although the occasional rub probably won't do you any harm, consistently doing it and consistently doing it hard could lead to potential vision loss. So send this to literally anyone you know, because for their eyes' sake, they need to see this. Elon!
Noted, man. I mean, you know, rubber bond sometimes all the time. I'm a victim too, especially using my knuckles, so I didn't know it could make your
The
eye
two brothers who
bulge.
took their parents' lives 35 years ago may now have an opportunity to be released this year. In 1989, Eric and Lyle Menendez took their parents' lives, Jose and Kitty Menendez, inside their home in Beverly Hills. The brothers were convicted of first-degree murder and were given life sentences without the possibility of parole. But the thing that has a lot of people questioning whether this was fair or not is the amount of evidence they have against their father showing that he essayed them growing up. Their father, who was an executive in the entertainment industry, had a lot of power, and Eric and Lyle were terrified of him. They were essayed by their father from a very young age until they were teenagers, and they even told their mother, but nothing was ever done. After taking their parents' lives out of fear, new evidence was revealed that their father also drugged and Ard, a 13-year-old boy named Roy Rosello, who was part of a popular Puerto Rican singing group called Menudo at the time. What I find so surprising about this is the amount of support Eric and Lyle have received from family members on both sides who truly believe them and are calling for justice. But on the other hand, there seems to be a conflict of interest. An attorney named Kathy Cady was just appointed to be the new director of the Bureau of Victim Services, which makes no sense because she's also the lawyer for the only family member of the Menendez brothers who strongly believes that Eric and Lyle should stay in prison for the rest of their lives. Many people believe that the brothers were not given a fair chance during their trial and deserve to be resentenced, which could now potentially happen at a hearing on March 20th. If you guys want to support Eric and Lyle's resentencing, you can share this post with the hashtag Justice for Eric and Lyle or email the DA through the website's form and tell them you support resentencing.
Here's what your birthmark actually says about your past life. If you have no birthmarks, this means you died of natural causes in your past life or you're a new soul. If you have a red birthmark anywhere on your body, this is a sign that you burned to death in your past life. If you have any skin impressions that look like this that's caused by acne or smallpox, that's where you've actually been wounded in your past life. It serves as a reminder from issues in your past life that you've come to the present to heal. If you have a spot anywhere on your eye, this is most likely a spear wound from your past life where someone most likely killed you while you were sleeping. If you have a birthmark on your head somewhere, and especially if you can't grow hair through it, this means you were probably killed by scalping, which is when someone cuts off all the hair and skin around your head before killing you. And if you have a birthmark like this with a dark center and a light ring around it, it's a sign that you were hit with a poison arrow in your past life.
Here are the creepiest things kids have ever said. And before I tell you these, I feel like I'm obliged to say, I'm so sorry. First up, we've got monster under the bed. One night, a young girl couldn't sleep because apparently there was something under her bed. When her parents came into the room to say go back to sleep because there's nothing under her bed, she replied with, I know. He's behind you now. Like, I'm sorry. What? Next up, a 4-year-old girl was found in the bathroom by her mum with all of her Barbies. But she was making them float face down in the bath. When the mum asked what she was doing, she replied with, the man in the wardrobe told me if I didn't do it, it would be my turn to swim face down. Next up, a 3-year-old boy was softly singing in a room while colouring in a picture. His mum actually stopped to listen because she'd never heard the song before. When she asked where he learnt it, he said the lady in my bedroom sang it to me. And finally, a 5-year-old asked his mum when he was going to be 23. His mum said in 18 years' time, and he replied with, well, I hope I don't die again, as that was how old I was the last time I went to heaven. Tell me which story made you go, what the fuck, the most, and share this with a friend to just creep them out because you're a good person. Now everyone with me.
A case that makes me sick. The murder of Kenneth White. These 5 teenagers was throwing rocks from an overpass. Eventually, one rock hit the windshield of White's car and hit his face.
Why they do that, man?
You should never swim in any of these places. Number 1, the River Ganges in India. Thousands of people swim here every year, but it's one of the most polluted places on the planet. It has over 3,000 times the amount of unsafe chemicals. And to make matters worse, bodies are even dumped in the river. Number 2, Lake Berisa in California. The reason you should never swim here is because there is a massive spillway inside the lake. This is to make sure the water doesn't rise too high. People and animals have been swept into this spillway, making it a very dangerous place. Number 3, Lake Karach in Russia. Its amazing blue color attracts many tourists. But what they don't realize is that it's the most polluted lake on the planet. When the Soviet Union were making nukes, they dumped all their nuclear wastes into this lake. If you ever swam in this lake, you'll only be alive for about 30 minutes. Number 4, the boiling lake in Dominica. Underneath this boiling lake is red magma, and the lake's water is at 100 degrees Celsius. Sophomore?
Okay, man. That goes to show you, bro. Like, on the surface, those leaks, like I said, some of those, man, leaks, they look freaking beautiful, but they're deadly, man. Beauty kills. I can't believe it, especially 2 of those leaks, man. They just look like regular leaks, man. You never
Worst
know.
torture techniques in the entire world that you will wish I never told you about. It's part 4, boys. This is known as white room torture, and once again, it is still used today. It doesn't look like much from a photo, but it's horrific and one of the worst tortures you can experience. Basically, you'll be placed in just a white room, like a prison cell, but it's just plain white. Everything in the room is white. The bed, the walls, the toilet, the shelves, the door, everything. There's no other colours in the room. Now you probably think, well, it's not a big deal, it's just white. Well, you'd be wrong there. By seeing the same colour, especially white, constantly and no change, will drive you insane. To the point where you're hallucinating, smashing into the walls, and possibly even trying to kill yourself. That's why most of these white rooms are actually padded, so people can't just run havoc in the walls. But yeah, for the first day or 2, you'd be, it's not that bad. But people will be held in here for months upon months upon months. And after around only day 3, you'll start to go insane. Like and follow for more.
Creepy facts
How long has you
about
guys
the
survived in the white
zodiac
room?
signs. Gemini to face.
Two-Face? That's what they're talking about? That's what I'm getting off those
Taurus,
pictures.
stalkers.
Stalker vibes from Taurus?
Aquarius, very manipulating.
Is that true for Aquariuses?
Leo. Good liars.
Leos are good liars. Drop your sign down below.
Cancer, obsessive in relationships.
Each sign got their own fault.
Libra knows how to ruin your day in every way.
Damn.
This has to be one of the creepiest mugshots I've ever seen, and the story behind it is pretty disturbing. This is the man in the mugshot, Christopher Queen. At the time of his arrest, he was 48 years old and living in Pennsylvania. So on election day in 2018, Christopher entered a polling center in Pennsylvania planning on casting a vote. But when he arrived to vote, he was told that he couldn't because he wasn't registered. Poll workers who were working that day even stated that they heard Christopher mention that he was getting paid $100 to come vote, which obviously was not true. But when Christopher arrived, like I said before, he wasn't registered to vote in Washington County, the county he was in. When the workers told him that he couldn't vote, they noticed that Christopher began to shake uncontrollably and became filled with some sort of a rage. He then and after that, he was quickly put into handcuffs. I don't know the full story behind why he chose to exhibit this expression in his mugshot, but they caught him before he could enact any sort of violence, and yeah, he was arrested. It's worth noting as well that in other news reports that surfaced after this threat was made, Christopher is seen smiling in the same type of manner. Luckily though, authorities were able to arrest Christopher and put him in custody that day before he could cause any violence.
So it looks
I
like
got
Art the Clown
Joker
is going to be
vibes.
starring in a brand new horror movie, and we don't have to wait until Terrifier 4. As we know, the actor who plays Art the Clown is David Howard Thornton, who of course plays Art the Clown, and who also played the Grinch in The Mean Ones, which I feel like is a little bit overhated, as it's a low-budget horror movie having to do with the Grinch story. But there are a ton of aspects that David Howard Thornton uses while playing the Grinch in The Mean Ones that really makes it feel like it's Art the Clown. And I feel like it's almost the same thing we're going to be getting in this Mickey Mouse horror movie having to do with Steamboat Willie, a Steamboat Willie horror movie, pretty much Mickey Mouse, more or less. Now yes, technically it's one of those lower budget horror movies, kind of like the Grinch the Mean Ones. And if you've seen the trailer, you might know that it does not look great. I'm going to reiterate one more time, neither did Terrifier when it first came out. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be using CGI either. It looks like they're going to be doing a full costume like they do in Terrifier. Obviously I cannot show you the trailer because it's extremely graphic, and I don't really know if it's something that you want to watch in general. But all in all, I think it's amazing that David Howard Thornton is not only just playing Art the Clown, but playing these other characters. And I'm hoping he's going to be giving it a little bit of Art the Clown inspo. As I said, when he played the Grinch in The Mean Ones, there were aspects of Art the Clown, that funny, that humor, that we only see from Art the Clown. I'm just glad we don't have to wait till Terrifier 4.
Do you ever see a picture that just makes your stomach drop? This is a still from an alert that a woman named Alexis Randall got on her phone. It's from a security camera that was set up in her living room, but she's looking at this and she's thinking the same thing you were. She's like, what's wrong with the picture here? Why did the motion detector go off? But then look a bit closer, specifically at the bathroom door. This man was staring at the camera from the doorway. She spots this picture and she immediately panics and calls the police, but by the time they get there, this guy is gone. What really freaked her out even more is that when police got there, they found evidence that the bathroom window had been tampered with. Further security footage would show that the man had crawled through the bathroom window the night before and was hiding in the hallway bathroom all through the night, even while she was in the house. And if you guys are loving Creep Time, make sure to go follow on Insta.
One of my worst fears, man. Somebody just in your house and you have no idea. I didn't even see that until he zoomed in.
Here are the most terrifying mythical beasts from around the world. First up, the Wendigo. The Wendigo is described as a gigantic creature which is a near-perfect hunter and can control the weather through the use of dark magic. Native Canadian and American folklore state that the Wendigo is born when a human has to resort to cannibalism to survive, although it has also been described as a spirit which possesses humans who are excessively greedy or gluttonous. Before we continue, please show your support by pressing share copy link to receive a brofist in the comments section. Next up, Black Annis. Black Annis is a hag-like creature in English folklore with iron claws and an appetite for human children. Legend has it that Black Annis would hide in trees waiting for her victims, and when she caught them, she would wear their skins around her waist. But if you were careful, you could hear her teeth grinding and run away. Let me know what countries I should do next.
The Wendigos, man. I learned some new lore on that.
Lost inventions that could have changed the world, part 4. In the late 1990s, inventor Jan Slow created the slow digital coding system. He claimed it could compress an entire multi-gigabyte movie down to a file size of 8 kilobytes. This would have revolutionized the way we store and share data. Slout demonstrated this to executives from Philips by playing 16 movies simultaneously from a single 64 kilobyte chip. And the Philips execs told Slout that he was about to be, quote, the richest man on earth. However, 2 days before the source code was going to be handed over, Slout mysteriously died in his garden of a heart attack on September 11th, 1999, and his decoding software was never recovered.
Now, what do you guys think about that? There's no way that's that coincidence, man. It compacted all those files into like just 8 gigabytes. And there was proof he showed him, man. He was about to be the richest man on earth. Somebody didn't want that product to go through. I don't know who behind that one. That's
YouTubers who've done horrible things. Jay Station was a Canadian YouTuber who would often do pranks and 3M videos. One day, he claimed that his girlfriend Alexia was suddenly killed in a car accident. However, he used her death as a way to get views, even communicating to her through an Ouija board. Alexia was revealed to be alive, and once the truth came out, she later revealed how mentally abusive he was. This would later lead to his channel being demonetized.
Times when actors couldn't act. In The Boys, Homelander is one of the most menacing and intimidating villains we've ever seen. In this scene, he knocks over a door just by knocking. But when Anthony Starr realizes he accidentally broke the set, he completely breaks character.
Shit, are you supposed to do that?
Sorry, guys.
You broke the door, man.
I'm sorry. And for this flying scene, they actually filmed it practically, but Anthony Starr could not stay in character.
My life. This. Off. Holy. Okay. Please, let's go.
In Spider-Man Far From Home, there's a scene where Ned shares a big secret with Peter, but Tom Holland couldn't keep a straight face while filming.
I'm a virgin.
I'm so sorry.
In Wednesday, Jenna Ortega's character is dark and unapologetic, but after she accidentally hits Emma Myers with a flashlight, she snaps out of character.
Oh, sorry. Did I hit you in the face right now? Hold on. Are you okay?
And lastly, when filming Rush Hour, Jackie Chan barely knew any English, which led to him messing up his lines in the funniest ways.
Cheese!
Cheese?
Freeze! Meanwhile, his co-star Chris Tucker didn't know any Chinese, which led to this.
See,
how difficult is that? My English, you even cannot say 3 words.
You try, bro. Rush Hour, classic, man.
Guess who's back again to traumatize y'all with more creepy stuff? Me! So this is a gigantic, breathing animatronic that is in Shanghai, China, and it's of Confucius, the Chinese teacher. It is absolutely massive. Look how big it is in comparison to that dude right there. And it is in a pool of water that it's only like a foot deep, but it's still terrifying. Look at this. Like, its beard is in the water. That's creepy. Bro is like hyper realistic. Like, that looks like real skin. That is so freaking uncanny. And apparently his chest moves like very, very subtly, so it looks like he's breathing. No. This picture alone heebies my jeebies beyond absolute belief. Imagine that you work in this museum at night and like your job is to go put out the lights in this area of the museum, and you're this guy and you have to put off the lights and turn off the animatronic for the night, and that thing is in the dark just staring at you. Nope. Love his eyebrows though. Like, for real, his eyebrows look amazing. He's not at the museum anymore. In the video that I watched about him, he actually is put in a warehouse somewhere. So this gigantic monstrosity is just chilling in a dark warehouse somewhere right now on this planet. How do you feel about this one? Does this freak you out? Would you be able to look at it or get anywhere close to it? Would you get in that water? Me? No.
Here are 3 real ways you can survive encountering a Gashadakuru. According to Japanese mythology, the Gashadakuru is a massive skeletal being known for its unending desire to consume human blood. The first rule you'll need to follow if you suspect there's a Gashadakuru in your area is to always keep your ears open for anything that sounds unfamiliar. Despite its size, the Gashadakuru is known to be able to stalk its prey almost silently, but if you listen carefully, there's a chance you'll hear its bones chattering in the wind, giving you time to flee. Secondly, it's recommended you don't travel alone if you live in a rural area, as the Gashadakuru prefers to hunt people who are by themselves to avoid drawing attention to itself. Finally, it's recommended that you avoid old battlefields or areas where there is an abundance of improperly buried individuals, as these are the conditions necessary to spawn a Gashadakuru. Tag a friend if you're watching this alone, and follow for more.
Thanks for letting
The
us know.
Craziest Human Experiments, Part 6. The Gruesome Beheading Experiments. Throughout the 19th and 20th century, French doctors investigated whether freshly executed victims stayed alive moments after their death. One notable case was that of Charlotte Corday, who was publicly executed in 1793. According to reports at the time, her severed head was lifted up by the executioner and slapped across the face. And to the shock of the crowd, the victim's face apparently blushed and appeared angry. Another famous case in 1905 where a man shouted at a severed head and it apparently responded back. Their main goal was to find out how long a human head remained conscious after death.
They figured it out? I know. I
This
heard it
is
was
why
over.
you never paddleboard out in the ocean.
And there you have it, recent 4,269, I'd ride cross country on a bike with no seat, pause, before I go out into the open ocean. That is a nope of the highest order. Those are South American sea nettles, a species of jellyfish that can have a bell, you know, that umbrella looking part, more than 3 feet across, to go with tentacles that can range anywhere from 3 to 10 feet long. And I don't think I even really need to tell you, but yeah, touching one of those can be really bad for your health. They use venom to paralyze prey, but it can also cause excruciating pain and a really bad rash if you get stung. And if you think that's bad, I got something even worse. This is what a jellyfish pool party in Peru looks like the devil's bubble bath. And guess what? This kind of thing, it's only going to get worse. Because whether you want to believe in climate change or not, the more the Earth's thermostat gets turned up, the more the jellyfish start turning up on us. Since unlike most of the effery in the ocean, jellyfish actually do better in warmer waters with less oxygen. Especially since climate change means more CO2 means more algae blooms, and guess what likes to eat algae? And you don't have to be in the water to get rocked by jellyfish. There have been times where jellyfish swarms got so bad they therefore caused power outages because they managed to clog the pipes of power plants. Now go ahead and add the fact that some jellyfish can spawn 45,000 eggs a day, especially if we're actively murking the things that eat them. Just another reason to save the turtles.
Save the turtles,
The
man.
most insane trade war has officially begun because Canada, Mexico, and China are pissed and have now all announced their own plans on how to retaliate against Trump's tariffs. I mean, even at last night's NHL hockey game, you had Canadians booing the US national anthem. So what the hell is going on? Well, you see, yesterday, Trump's promised 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and 10% on China officially kicked in. And what that means is that any goods sent from these countries to the United States, well, they'll now cost companies 25% more, or 10% in China's case. So for example, if a Canadian business sent a car to the US that cost $50,000, today US companies will pay a $12,500 tariff at the border. But then, and here's the annoying part, they'll pass that cost down to you, the US customer. So the price of your once $50,000 car is now actually $62,500. But this doesn't make sense. Why would Trump purposefully make things more expensive for Americans? Well, two main reasons. The first is more of a longer-term, unguaranteed benefit, but it would be to change consumer habits to buy more American-made products and incentivize more international companies to manufacture in the US. In theory, that means a stronger US economy, more stable jobs, and less dependence on foreign countries. And the second reason for imposing these tariffs would be to use them as a tool to pressure Canada, Mexico, and China into doing what Trump wants. I mean, some of these things that he's publicly mentioned include renegotiating trade deals, stopping illegal immigration and the flow of fentanyl, and then there's also Canada becoming a state of America, but that's a bit more far-fetched. But here's where things get interesting, because instead of just doing what Trump wants, Canada have clapped back with a 25% tariff of their own, and Mexico said they're doing the same, but haven't announced the percentage yet. China reacted in a little bit of a different way by preparing to file a lawsuit with the World Trade Organization. So why is Trump not backing down? Well, just listen to this. In 2023, Canada sent 76% of all of their exports to the United States. That accounts for roughly 19% of their entire GDP. In 2024, Mexico sent 78% of all of their exports to the United States. That makes up 37% of their entire GDP. But for America, their exports to both countries combined only make up roughly 2.7% of their entire GDP. So, simply put, even if they do retaliate, getting into a tariff war with the United States would hit Canada and Mexico much harder. Trump, he knows this, and he's using it. It doesn't make it any less controversial, and it does still mean that people in all three countries will see a price increase. But it seems like, for Trump at least, that's just the cost of America.
Bravely fought off a terrifying intruder who entered her home in the middle of the night wearing a clown mask. On the 15th of October, a scene unfolded in a small town like that from a horror film. At around 1:30 a.m., a man broke into a child's bedroom in Colorado. Police described the incident as an attempted child abduction, with the man entering the room in a dark hoodie and a cloth clown mask. Terrifyingly, the little girl was blindfolded and snatched off her bed as the man tried to take her from her bedroom. She was subject to quite a brutal attack by the intruder and bravely fought him off until he hit her over the head and knocked her out. Fortunately, it seems that he was spooked in the process of this and fled the scene. Now, it apparently took police over an hour to get to the incident at the property, but they did manage to gather vital evidence and then track the intruder down. They revealed his identity as 56-year-old Thomas Gallegos. They were able to arrest him and charge him with multiple serious offences such as burglary, assault, kidnapping and child abuse. The little girl did sustain cuts and bruises and was obviously traumatised by the attack, but fortunately did live to tell the tale.
This is how rare your body actually is. Starting off, only 5% of people have tied tongues, so if you have this, you're pretty rare. Basically, this is where your tongue is tied to the bottom of your mouth, impacting your speech and eating. Next up is Morton's toe, and if you have this, you're probably pretty rare. Only 10% of the population has this, and this is where your index toe is bigger than your big toe. Okay, this next one is crazy. 1% of people actually have unbreakable bones. This is a genetic mutation which causes people's bones to be more dense than the average human. And one person who had this condition actually walked away from a car crash unharmed. Next, about 50% of people can fit their hand in their mouth. Sounds a bit high, so if you actually can, let me know. If you can tickle yourself, you're in the rare 7% of the population that can do this. About 10% of people suffer from eczema, which is a skin rash and is so annoying. And finally, we have the 16% of people that can make a roaring noise in their head by clenching their jaw.
If any of your seekers, man, can you guys do any of those unique things, man? I think I have the tied tongue, but I can't fit my whole fist in my mouth. I know I can't do that. I don't even need to try to do that, bro. And the unbreakable bones. I saw actually somebody comment down, a fellow seeker said how like the unbreakable bone story was kind of not true. So, like I said, to each their own. Everybody got to do their own research, but that's crazy.
Crazy part is, most people believe that these three things will actually save your life. They don't. Let's pretend you're lost in the desert and you need water, and you don't have any. So where are some places you can get water? One commonly held terrible piece of advice is to drink your own pee, because it's mostly made up of water, except there's 5% of that that's all made up of just waste from your body, and even though the urine might keep you alive a little bit longer, you'll ultimately die of kidney failure. So you don't drink your own pee. Instead, you head over to some cactus you see nearby because you remember reading or hearing in school that you can drink the water inside of cactus. Except, unless it's one really specific kind of cactus, you'll be drinking lots of alkaloids and chemicals that will make you viciously ill, and you'll start vomiting and you'll have diarrhea and you'll die from dehydration much faster. So as you're sitting there wondering what you're going to do next, a venomous snake bites you. And so you instinctively start sucking on the bite to remove the poison, but you can't because it goes right in your bloodstream, and all you'll do is die much faster from infection.
Man, those three things, he just proved us wrong.
This picture from inside the basement of Fun Zone, and I'm going to get into some of the backstory about what it is that we're actually looking at here. But what I can tell you is that when I did see it, my heart sunk. For some backstory, if you don't know what Fun Zone is, this is kind of a relic of the late 90s, early 2000s. It had lots of iterations over the years, but it was effectively like an indoor amusement park or arcade. It used to be like a really fun place to be. It had a handful of carnival rides, indoor roller coasters, all the works. So Fun Zone eventually did close down, and they boarded up the door. I guess the problem was is that didn't stop people from breaking in. One of the curious things about this location was that they didn't sell off any of the equipment that was inside. It just kind of remained in place. Eventually, upon one of the break-ins where somebody went in, they made their way to the basement where they found an abandoned cell phone, and that is where we get this picture. Nobody really knows who took the photo or what really happened to them, but if you look a bit closer to the background, you will see the same thing that I do. You can see it if I make the photo brighter. Whoever was exploring Fun Zone, they came face to face with a person in that basement. Don't forget, if scary stories like this are of interest to you, make sure to go check them out right on the podcast.
We're always told to drink a lot of water throughout the day, but have you ever wondered what happens when you drink too much water? Well, 35-year-old Ashley Summers drank 64 ounces of water in a span of 20 minutes and passed away from water toxicity. Ashley, her husband, and 2 daughters were at Lake Freeman in Indiana when she began feeling dehydrated. So she drank 4 bottles of water because for some reason she wasn't able to quench her thirst. Ashley complained about having a horrible headache and she began to feel lightheaded. When she got home with her family, she passed out in the garage and she was taken to the hospital where the doctor said she had brain swelling. Ashley never woke up and she was pronounced dead from water toxicity. A toxicologist said that this is more likely to happen to someone who's extremely dehydrated, which will cause them to drink too much water and not enough sodium or electrolytes. So remember, bring more than just water on really hot days, especially if you're under the sun for a long period of time.
Here's why you might not want to visit your mom on her birthday. A man was stuck in traffic while driving home after visiting his mother for her birthday. The man was so frustrated that when the GPS told him to take a detour, he went right away, which might have been a mistake. His gas light then came on, so he decided to pull into this super bar in town to fill up his tank. So the man went in, pumped his gas, and when he went to pay, the clerk was super weird. He didn't acknowledge him and just gave him a creepy smile. The man then went outside and saw a woman just standing in the middle of the road and said, "Are you okay?" And the woman looked at him and said, "Ah, yes, we are happy here." The man was like, "What the?" and just drove out of there. Till a cop pulled him over and said, "Sir, you can't drive. Driving's illegal here." The man had had enough and literally just went pedal to the metal and zoomed out of there. When he got home, he was just so confused. The people looked real but didn't act human. He tried to research it but decided, next year I'm just sending my mom a card.
Yeah, the Fast and Furious out of there, bro. I did the same thing too. People are acting weird, very weird.
Weird
Nature Facts, Part 37. In proportion to body weight, koalas have one of the smallest brains of any mammal. They're so dumb that when presented with leaves on a flat surface instead of on branches, they are unable to recognize them as food and will not eat them. Dogs get sprayed by skunks so often because skunks raise their tails as a warning. Dogs see this as "come smell my butt," which is the exact opposite message of what the skunk is trying to send. In Germany, it is illegal to kill any vertebrate animal without proper reason. Because of this, all German animal shelters are no-kill. In the 1980s, Ken the orangutan escaped from his enclosure at the San Diego Zoo multiple times. His apparent goals were visiting other animals, taking photos with tourists, and throwing rocks at his orangutan rival.
Wow,
Here are some disturbing facts about Disney. Many scenes in Toy Story are inspired by the horror movie The Shining. The voice actor that did Lilo in Lilo and Stitch also played the ghost girl in The Ring. The Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland feature real human skeletons. Also at Disneyland, there are vents that pump out artificial smells to keep you happy. After the release of Princess and the Frog, over 50 kids went to hospital for salmonella. They tried to kiss a frog. Do you know any other creepy things about Disney? Leave a comment.
Here's some.
I think the thing that got to me the most is that he pumping out like a smoke out of a vent to keep you happy at Disney. What the heck? What they got going on with Disney, bro? And the more you know, I heard some creepy facts about Disney, but that's definitely a new one I heard today, Seekers.
The creepiest videos on the internet, part 10. The popular American rapper XXXTentacion was murdered on June 18th, 2018, and his death broke the hearts of many.
R.I.P.
Many people visited his memorial to leave gifts, but some people captured much more. The YouTube channel, The Fam, recorded a video trying to communicate with this beloved rapper, but accidentally captured this. But someone else got a lot more than this. The YouTube channel Selva the Explorer got to speak with him through her spirit box. Here's some things he had to say.
What is your favorite song you've ever recorded? What's the name of your favorite song? Are you in the Wi-Fi? Is there anything else you want to tell us?
Is this legit? They were speaking to his ghost?
Yeah, I don't know if this is the most disturbing, but this is definitely top 5. This is Malgance Island, and up to 60,000 of these birds called Cape Gannets will nest here. But don't worry, I'm gonna get to it. So normally these parents take turns, with one going out for food with the other staying behind to guard the chick. But because of overfishing, oftentimes both parents will go out for food, leaving the chick all alone on the island. Which wouldn't be a problem if they didn't know that. Because groups of these white pelicans will fly over to the islands and then walk around looking for any unsupervised gannet chicks, so that they can grab the baby birds and eat them alive while they're still struggling. And sometimes they'll just push the parents out the way and then swallow the newborn children right in front of them. It somehow gets worse. Those same pelicans will fly back to their nest and vomit the half-digested, recently murdered baby birds for the pelican chicks to eat. And because Cape Gannets have no real way to defend themselves, pelicans have no reason to stop. And since pelicans obviously don't have teeth, those chicks' last moments were spent suffocating while being digested alive by stomach acid, only to get regurgitated and eaten twice. Dinosaurs never went extinct. They just rebranded with feathers.
Black Air Force energy. Confirmed. They need some menaces, bro.
This is proof that we aren't alone. Okay, so in Wyoming, there's a strange mountain in the middle of nowhere with ridges on it, and no one seems to know why. Now, most people say that this is because of erosion. However, there's a theory behind this mountain that will absolutely shock you.
Talk about
And
it.
as the theory says, the real reason as to why this mountain has ridges is not because of erosion, but because of a giant bear. The said bear is said to be named Mato and is about 60 feet tall, weighing over 10 tons. And this story even goes as far back as the Stone Age, with drawings of a gigantic bear attacking tribes on wall caves. However, this creature has not been seen since.
So this video went viral sometime last year when this woman and her kids, along with her friend and her friend's kids, went out to eat after a doctor's appointment. While they sat at this restaurant, this random man came out of nowhere and tried to grab one of their daughters and pull her out of the restaurant. The two mothers had a total of 6 kids with them, and they were all seated on this table, but in front of them were 2 other young kids who happened to be Snapchatting while this whole thing went down, and they caught this crazy moment. When the mother realized that this man had grabbed her daughter, she stood up right away and said, "Oh hell no," and then he said, "I'm just playing," and he let go of the little girl. There is no way this man is just playing around. He intended to take that little girl, and he probably thought it was going to be easy because there's just 2 moms with 6 kids at this table.
Humanoid robots.
Yeah, nah, he was definitely on some weird crap, bro. Gonna say, try to play it off as a joke, man. These people are getting bold now, bro. Like, right in front of the parents, they just don't care no more. Did the right thing stand up? Nah, we had to run that feed, bro. No. Somebody had to drag me off that guy, man. And for, like, in front of the parents? How stupid could you be?
Are getting creepier by the day. A startup from Poland called Clone Robotics is on a mission to create some of the most human-like robots ever. Even going as far as to use a musculoskeletal body using hydraulic tendon muscles covered in the stretchy skin-like fabric. And it's not just for show, because they claim that it is the strongest biomimetic hand in the world. Oh, and just like in the movies, their artificial muscles bleed if punctured. So yeah. Things are getting serious now.
Terminator next step.
Part 4. Today, let's talk about the mysterious disappearance of Rebecca Corium. Rebecca Corium was a 24-year-old worker on the Disney Wonder cruise ship. On March 22, 2011, while working on the cruise ship, Rebecca disappeared without a trace. This is one of the last photos taken of her, and it was from CCTV footage. At 5:45 a.m. that morning, footage revealed Rebecca talking on the phone with someone. She seemed visibly distressed. Now here's where it gets twisted. Many people believe that Disney knows exactly what happened to Rebecca, but are trying to cover up this whole thing. Let me explain. For starters, the captain of the ship said that Rebecca was just washed over by a big wave. They then gave Rebecca's parents a sandal and said that this was hers and it was retrieved from the deck that she was last seen on. Number 1, the sandal wasn't her size. Number 2, it wasn't her style. It was also revealed that Disney had edited the CCTV footage. Check out part 2 on this case for more information.
They're just trying to save some money, man. That's not the first time a big company would do something like that. It's sad.
Did you know that they may have just exposed Satan's city? What's even more crazy is there's people living there right now and it's not hell. Whilst addressing a church in Revelation chapter 2 verse 13, Jesus exposes the city of Satan. Watch this. Jesus says, "I know where you live, a place where Satan sits enthroned." And he says that same place is where his faithful witness Antipas died. Saint Antipas was martyred by being burnt in a bronze bull in Geneva, Switzerland. Like, this literally happened under the rule and reign of Nero. And you're never gonna guess what's happening in Geneva, Switzerland right now. It's home to an organization called CERN, whose, logo just happens to be 666. And their goal in life is to develop a machine that can actually tear a hole between the natural and supernatural realm. And they just made a discovery of something called the God particle, but that's a video for another time. Subscribe now if you love Jesus.
What do we think about CERN, man? That's their headquarters.
This is the disturbing truth about Christmas. This is Black Peter, and he spends the whole year spying on kids, taking note on who has been good and who has been bad. Every single Christmas, Black Peter goes with Santa from house to house, and while Santa gives presents to the good kids, Black Peter punishes the bad ones, and this is what he does to them. First, he will leave you a bag of twigs and a pile of coal. But if you have been really bad, Black Peter will snatch you from your bed and throw you into a sack. He will then kidnap you and take you to his coal mine, where he will chain you up and make you his slave. You will then work for him for the rest of your life, and if Black Peter ever gets sick of you, he will just simply eat you. So if this doesn't motivate you to make the nice list, then I don't know what will.
Stay away from Black Peter, bro.
Of the silent man. In 2014, a 51-year-old man in the UK named David Hampson decided to stand in the middle of a busy road and block the traffic. The incident was then reported and police officers arrived at the scene to see what was going on. But when they tried to talk to David to get him to move, he wouldn't say a word and just stood there, so they arrested him. From his arrest to when he was brought to court, David still remained completely silent and wouldn't even talk to his lawyer. Although since no one knew his motives and he hadn't actually hurt anyone, David was let go soon afterwards. But all he did was just go back to that same street and stand there, silent, once again. And he committed this same crime over and over again for the next 7 years, never saying a word to anyone. Even though he was jailed multiple times, every time he was released, he would just go back to that same street and do the exact same thing. All the doctors who had tried to help David failed because he refused to speak to them. And it was reported that the only time anyone had ever heard him speak was when he was giving food and water, and he said thanks. Finally, in 2020, David was given 3.5 years in prison for his actions, and is still yet to speak to anyone on why he did it.
If you believe in God, stay away from Halloween. Muslims, Christians, or anyone who believes in God, Halloween is a pagan festival. It involves evil spirits, jinns, and shaitan. It is forbidden for Muslims and real Christians to know the truth. Please do not associate with it and stay away. Share this everywhere and spread awareness.
Alright guys, let's talk about Krampus. Krampus comes from old German folklore. He's the opposite of Santa Claus and he punishes misbehaving children on Christmas. You might be asking, what does he do to punish these misbehaving children? He stuffs them in his bag and takes them back to his lair. He either eats them or tortures them. He also has a whole gang of minions that help him do this. Krampus is celebrated around many parts of Europe and there have been a lot of petitions to ban him. This is because people are scared of the legend and they don't want to keep doing it. But every single year during Christmas time, there are always reports of Krampus sightings all over the place. Let me know what you guys think about Krampus in the comment section below.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew, Part 3. The first firefighter killed in 9/11 attacks was struck dead by a falling body in the courtyard. One of them was killed on his way in, and the other was killed on his way out. Right now, there are tiny little bugs on your face munching on your dead skin. Your bones are wet. If you don't have kids, you will break an unbroken line of children that has gone on for tens of millions of years. A scientist studying death asked a man who was about to be executed by a guillotine if he would blink after his head was chopped off. He ended up blinking for 30 seconds. Most laugh tracks for TV shows were recorded in the early 1950s, meaning that you hear dead people laugh. If you're attacked by a bear, it won't try to kill you like other predators. Instead, it'll just start eating you. One day, someone will mention you for the last time, then they'll never ever mention you again.
Crazy to think about, man.
Here are the creepiest Christmas urban legends, part 1. Ever heard of the Yule Cat? This is an extremely creepy cat that's said to originate from Iceland. According to stories, the Yule Cat enjoys snacking on people during the holiday season. And what makes the Yule Cat even weirder is that it specifically targets people who haven't received any new clothing before Christmas Eve. Iceland is also home to Gryla. According to Iceland lore, Gryla is a giant ogress who leaves her cave in the mountains to feed on children during Christmas. To make the story even creepier, Gryla keeps the Yule Cat as a pet. What the hell is going on in Iceland? Then we have Belschnickel, and this one comes from Germany. According to people of the Rhine, Belschnickel is an old bearded man who visits children during the holidays with Santa Claus. If you were good that year, he'd give you cakes and candy. If you were bad, well, Belschnickel would pull out a switch and whip the children until they behaved. This is probably why Dwight from The Office loved him so much. There's also Krampus. This is one you've probably heard about from movies and books. In the Alpines, Krampus is a horned demonic figure who visits the homes of naughty children on December 5th and punishes them. In some versions of the story, he hits them with birch rods. In others, he straight up takes them back down to hell with him. The Germans definitely know how to scar kids for life.
Scary things hidden in Disney movies. In Mona, Olaf from Frozen appears in Mona's basket. In Wall-E, Rex from Toy Story All Alone among the junk.
Whoa,
Here's
I never
the truth
noticed
behind
that.
Dora the Explorer. You may think it's just some ordinary cartoon, but there's actually a big secret behind it. Dora the Explorer is actually blind, and here's proof. If you watch the show, you'll notice Dora never actually looks at what she's talking about. She always looks in another direction and doesn't even blink. This also explains why her parents make her take Boots everywhere, because Boots is actually a secret service animal. Even in this scene right here, Boots is counting the coins and she's not looking anywhere near that. And this explains why she always asks obvious questions to the audience.
The 16-year-old
Whoa, what the heck? Hey, that's a new theory, man, that she just put in my head. Was Dora the Explorer always blind? What do you guys think, man? They was lining up perfectly.
Girl threw her newborn out of her window. Viewers' discretion is strongly advised. On September 30th of 2016, 16-year-old Antonia Lopez had gave birth to a baby girl. Right after giving birth, she took a photo of the baby and sent that photo to her baby's father on Snapchat. Antonia had captioned the photo saying it was a girl, by the way. Right after that is when she made the decision to throw the baby out of her second-story window. Shortly after that, she then decides to post on her Facebook around 3:40 a.m. to see if someone can help her out. Someone ends up replying to her Facebook post, and she is asking help to get rid of a deceased baby, needs some trash bags, and a car. Antonia ends up telling her mom what happened, and her mom immediately calls 911 and rushes down to that baby to perform CPR. Antonia was taken into custody, and she could face up to 20 years in prison if she was charged as an adult. The judge ends up charging Antonia as a juvenile so she can avoid prison time. Instead, she was sentenced to live in a group home, complete 50 hours of community service, attend therapy sessions, and delete her Facebook account. The only reason they made her delete her Facebook account was because of the angry comments she was receiving.
Here's what famous cartoon characters would look like in real life, and the last one will freak you out. This is what Homer Simpson would look like as a real person. And this is a 3D rendering of Mario. Buzz Lightyear doesn't actually look too different in real life. And Bart Simpson seems to have a missing chin when he turns real. Stewie Griffin from Family Guy doesn't look too different. But SpongeBob SquarePants might freak you out.
Yeah, he did. SpongeBob can't be real. that face.
Maps that will change the way you see the world. These cities are all still owed money from the Trump campaign. There are now over 50 countries generating over 50% of their electricity from renewable energy. This shows the employment rates for 15 to 29-year-olds in Europe. The darkest blue areas are over 80%, and the darkest red areas are under 30%. This is how much it costs to hold a prisoner in each state in the United States. In Arkansas, it only costs $23,000, but in Maine, it costs over $300,000. 33% of the entire country of Switzerland live within 5 kilometers of the main train line that goes through the country. This map shows how population is dispersed through France, with the same amount of people living in the green as in the red. This map shows how many people by percentage in each country in Europe actually speak French. This map is highlighting every city that was founded by the French in the United States.
Wow, the more you know. That first map is crazy, bro.
These are scary cartoon truths that would terrify you, part 8. Okay, so the Teletubbies is a dark nightmare about genetically engineered slave creatures being systematically trained to become part of our society. The Teletubbies aren't in control of their own destiny, and 3 things control their day-to-day life. First is the voice, which is a tiny female voice that tells them when they could eat, sleep, say hello, or even say goodbye. The robotic voice comes from a speaker in the ground, hinting that something larger lies beneath. Next up is Nunu. He's a harmless vacuum cleaning robot who follows the Teletubbies and cleans up all the messes that they make, and also yelling at them for bad decisions. Nunu is just the watchdog of the Teletubbies. Finally is the pinwheel. Whenever the pinwheel starts to spin, the Teletubbies stop everything they're doing and run to the top of the hill to perform a ritual. People believe the Teletubbies is based on the end of the world.
Wow, we've heard some crazy theory about the Teletubbies, but that's definitely a new one.
Saudi Arabia has just said that the groundwork for what would become the largest structure on Earth is now 86% complete. Now, not only would it be large enough to fit 20 Empire State Buildings inside, but similar to the Las Vegas Sphere, in its center will be this spiral-shaped tower encased by a VR dome that essentially could create anything your mind could imagine, whether that be on Mars, under the ocean, balcony views of Pandora, and even whatever the hell these things are. So the question is, do you think they'll be able to complete this by 2030 or not?
This evil grandmother
think
baked
so.
her 20-month-old granddaughter in the oven. Viewers' discretion is strongly advised. 48-year-old Carolyn Jones lived with her brother and 20-month-old granddaughter Royalty in Shaw, Mississippi. She was described as a caring woman who loved her granddaughter. On October 15th of 2018, Carolyn's brother had found royalty in a still warm oven when he had returned home from work. She had been burned so badly that she was unrecognizable. The police determined that royalty had been stabbed multiple times and was still alive when she was placed in the oven. Royalty's cause of death was stab wounds and inhaling all that heated air. Carolyn was taken into custody on a charge of first-degree murder. The motive behind why she did this is still unclear to this day. A week before the incident, Royalty's toys and belongings had been left on the curb for trash. Royalty's car seat, high chair, ride-on horse, and diapers were among the items taken by people that were passing down their street. Neighbors were shocked to hear about what happened, and they stated that they rarely saw Carolyn or anyone else at that house, and they had no idea that a small child was even living there. In 2022, Carolyn was sentenced to life in prison for capital murder.
An 11-year-old boy came across this girl buried underneath the sand, and this is what happened. A young boy named Connor Fitzgerald was building sandcastles with a couple of his friends at the Marina Dunes beach in California. The boys soon moved to digging holes in the sand and challenged each other to see who could dig the deepest. As Connor was digging his hole, he suddenly hit something with his right hand. He dug deeper and realized that it was a bag. He dug around the bag, grabbed it, pulled it out, and was shocked when he realized that the bag was still attached to its owner. Connor then dug back more sand to find a little girl buried underneath. He called out for help, but there were no adults around, so he single-handedly pulled her out of the sand. The little girl was completely limp and wasn't breathing. Connor then thought back to an episode of NCIS where he saw a character perform CPR. As he started the procedure, a young couple walking down the beach started sprinting toward them.
Damn, I gotta find that part too, bro. Imagine you found somebody buried alive. That little boy is a hero, bro. Man. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, man. Make sure you guys follow me on my social medias. Hit that thumbs up button. Comment down below. You guys are gonna catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.